welcome to GHK Radio Season 3, Episode 3?
Yes!
Yes, Episode 3. We can count.
I almost said 2, and I was like, wait a second, we did another one after Episode 1.
Wait a minute.
That's right.
Oh, yes it is, and we've got a special guest with us, yay!
Yay! Introduce yourself, friend!
Finally got a guest!
Yes, we got a guest back again. Since season 1?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't talk to a lot of people.
Oh. It's okay, you can
It's
talk to me all
Yeah.
day, every day. I will always talk back. I love talking.
And
Yay!
who's the me that we're talking to?
Yeah, who's
Would you like to
this?
introduce yourself?
Who's the me?
you?
Oh, me? Oh, my name is Giri. Yeah. My
What do you
name is
do?
Giri.
What do you do?
Who are you?
I am a streamer on Twitch, and I do cooking stuff predominantly. And other than that, I just chit chat and do stupid things.
Yay! I love
Yeah.
that! Yay! Pachi, 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 pachi.
Yeah,
Pachi. Well,
we're actually renaming Giri to Kiri. OniGiri, to replace Kai. We finally found somebody we can get rid of Kai.
Yes, and good riddance. Thank you.
Good riddance.
I'm
Good riddance.
I'm here to save the day.
Both of you
Okay, don't
purple
worry.
hair and like orange,
I
just
see
like
how it-
uptones. So I think we have like a prime replacement. Nobody has object permanence here. They'll just be like, oh yeah, that's the same group, same colors.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
the
true!
theme is constant. Yes, it's true. I agree.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Why are you still talking,
God.
Kai? Just remove yourself off the screen.
Kai, please don't. Come back!
Shoo!
Come back! You're going first today, Kai. You have to come back.
Wait, I'm first?
Yeah, you're first today.
Kai.
In
Oh,
GHK
okay.
order.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh.
You gotta come back though. Okay.
Alright, am I back? Am I back
Yeah,
in
you're
the right
back.
spot?
Yep. You did good.
Thank you.
This table's a bit crowded, but
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
we
alright.
haven't-
I like
yeah.
it.
It's warm. It's
We're
toasty,
close.
Mhm.
We
Definitely.
haven't had guests in season 1 actually. I had a viewer come in yesterday talking about GHK, and they
Oh,
were
yeah?
just saying how they just finished the episode where we had one of our previous guests, Nova, and I was just like, oh, I can't hit the fact that we might have another guest.
We can't say we have another guest.
Mm,
It has to be secret.
Nor deny.
It's a pleasant
Yeah.
surprise. We plead the
Yeah.
fifth.
so I guess to kind of give Giddy an idea how things work around here. I guess I'll start with the first topic.
Mhm.
So I have a question for everyone.
That's not a topic.
Mhm.
That's a question.
It leads into the topic. I don't know. This isn't the first time we've done this. Come on now.
It's all new to Giri though.
Yeah, we're helping.
Yeah.
You're doing a really stellar job, by the way, Kai. You're really making yourself look real good.
This is like the first episode of a sports anime where like they describe things in like baby ways for people who have like never like they're like, oh, when you like if it's a culinary anime, they're like, oh, you hold a knife in this way so that when you cut, you don't cut your fingers off. And it's like explaining it all for the first time, like people have never like cooked before.
If
This
you
is-
kick the ball, it moves.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like this. This is the explaining how podcasts work to someone who's never heard of a podcast before.
Exactly.
so
The anime.
for today, baby's first podcast.
Never do that again.
It's a tough crowd.
It's okay.
Okay, what's your
All right,
question?
sorry.
Well,
Hey,
you're
like, so one thing that some viewers may or may not know is that we have this exclusive little VTubers club called the Food Likers Club.
No, it's not food
And
likers.
We're all
The name of it.
Are we
You
doing-
don't know
What's
the
the
name
name?
of
What's the
We're
club?
the Food
We're
Lickers
the
now. We're the Food Lickers now.
Yeah,
We're the food-
VTuber food licking club.
Yeah.
Right.
Get your name straight. No wonder you're getting replaced down.
So a common thread that binds us all together is food,
Yes.
and that was gonna be part of my topic for today.
Mhm.
Do you guys play with your food?
What?
How
How old
like-
are we?
Oh.
It's gonna
Can-
be like a
can you
really
give-
big question.
Can you give an example first, Kai? Can you like
Okay.
tell the class?
Like, have you ever just sat there and experimented and mixed things that don't conventionally go together. You're just messing around with food, eating different weird combinations, and then finding out, oh wow, this is actually like pretty good. Like, have you ever had like a jar of peanut butter and then maybe a jar of jam and then a jar of pickles, and you're like,
I mean, I guess I always like to combine different foods with like opposing flavor profiles. So like just the other day, like on a whim, I bought a habanero jelly because I had run out of jelly at home. So for the last couple of days, my lunches have consisted of 2 mini gluten-free waffles with habanero jelly, avocado oil mayonnaise, and Black Forest ham.
That is a combination.
Yes, but it's sweet and salty, and it's delicious. So like I do tend to play with
Because my topic today was gonna be about, or I guess is gonna be about, like foods, like common foods these days that were like discovered completely by accident when people were like messing around. There's quite a few of them, and I was going to raise some examples from there, but then like I was also going to wonder, have you guys ever accidentally discovered something that you really, really enjoy just from messing with your food?
Dipping graham crackers in apple juice.
Oh, that's one.
That
sounds actually really good.
So, but there's a trick to it. So graham crackers are a very dry and porous and relatively fragile cracker, right?
Yep.
So as soon as they get wet, they start to disintegrate.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a race of time, because you have to, like, you would break the graham crackers into the smallest rectangles that you could get.
Yeah.
And then dip them into the apple juice really quickly and then pull them out so that they wouldn't disintegrate into the apple juice, because then it turns into sludge and it's not that pleasant anymore. And then you have this like super sweet cookie paste, essentially. Is when it becomes like appley cookie paste.
I love that it's like a race against time. Like, not only are you enjoying like a very time sensitive delicacy, but like it's also like it's a timed event, right? So it's not just casual dipping. You're
Life
like, I
is
have
a
to go
race,
lightning
Harune.
fast.
Life is a race.
I'm
Do you-
doing like graham cracker eating speed run, fighting for my life. Like, it must be now. At 1.1 second, it must be now.
do you? I mean, when you're getting ready for bed at night and you're in your kitchen pouring water, do you not like turn off the lights and then race up the stairs before the dark gets you?
Oh my god, I don't do that anymore. I carry my phone with me and I use the phone flashlight, so I'm never running for my life anymore.
Yeah, more so
it's
you
too
don't wanna run 'cause
dangerous.
You don't want to stub your toe, right? Yeah, like what Harune said, you don't want to stub your toe anywhere.
I memorized how many steps there are in every staircase in this house, so I can count it as I'm running up in the dark.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
would just go
God.
quiet up, like when it got super dark, I would just have one hand touching the wall and then the other hand holding the glass.
I would lose my marbles. And it's actually part of my topic later, so I'm actually excited that this sort of like leads into it. But yeah, no, it's the dark is one of the things that like I don't want to say it's like an irrational fear, because I think to some extent it's evolutionary.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that we all are
Fear of the
afraid of the dark.
unknown. Makes
Exactly,
sense, yeah.
exactly. We don't know what dangers lurk, and that's what makes us so nervous. But yeah, I can't. I mean, when I was a kid and I had to run up the stairs after turning off the lights, like those were the worst. Like every time, no matter how much. It wasn't like, you know, the more I did it, the more I was like, no, this feels better. It was like every time, just terrified. So I just take my phone with me. I use the flashlight mode, and that's been the greatest gift for a cell phone. Is like I'm not thrilled that I can send texts or like stay in contact with people. It's the fact that it's a flashlight.
Yeah, right? Like,
Right. Like,
portable flashlight and calculator and internet.
Forget the
My
fact it makes
family-
calls.
my family always knows when it's bedtime because they'll hear click and then just dum 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 as I'm like running up.
Choked on my coffee.
The whole family is just like, is it
it's
time for bed? And then click.
I hear the thunder. It's time for bed.
Oh my god.
No, yeah, but I was looking into it, and there's like a whole bunch of foods that were kind of like they've got like pretty interesting stories of how they were like discovered, quote unquote.
That's kind of exciting.
Kind of like chocolate chip cookies. Did you know that was completely made on accident when somebody? Yeah.
Really?
A lady named Ruth Wakefield was baking cookies with, I think, walnuts or some sort of nuts.
Okay.
And that was like the common recipe back in the day. But then
Oh.
she realized that she ran out of nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And not wanting to be embarrassed by having like naked cookies with nothing in them,
Mm-hmm.
she just like smashed up a bar of chocolate and threw it in.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Was surprised that the chocolate held its shape after the baking.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Oh.
I guess, yeah, the common, because hot chocolate was definitely a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
maybe the assumption was that like chocolate was often only eaten either as like in cool form
wet
or in melted
liquid.
like liquid form.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
granted, I will throw the disclaimer out there that like a lot of these are even like stated to be like legends, or like there's no really documented case of like the first chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, it's just been around for so
So-
long, you know.
Yeah.
These are all like popular, the most popular like belief of where these foods came from, like how potato chips
was it-
came.
Who?
Potato chips came from someone holding a grudge against someone else.
What the heck?
That's the
Yeah.
best way for food to get discovered. I'm just calling that right now. I hate you. Here's new food.
So
Here's
apparently,
a hard potato.
yeah,
Mm.
in 1853, there was like a little eatery by like the sea that a steamship like driver owner
Mm.
named Cornelius Vanderbilt
Oh my
was
god.
bought by the eatery, and there was a chef there named George Crumb.
Wait,
The most English name and the most
Vanderbilt is in
American.
like on the
Vanderbilt.
East Coast, the state? Of the states?
I'm Canadian. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then where's
This
the
happened in
story
New York.
herring? Oh, okay, so
Oh,
it
New
is
The East
York.
Coast. Yeah.
okay.
So he went to this guy's eatery and started complaining that the French fries were cut too thick. Now, the prideful man that he was, George Crumb, in response to this complaint, very angrily shaved the potatoes as thin as he possibly could.
The
And deep
work
fried
of a
it.
petty man. I like that.
Vindictive
Out of-
genius.
out of
Is this thin
spite.
enough for you now?
Out of spite, and Cornelius really enjoyed how crispy these thin potatoes
Gosh
were.
dang it.
And
Backfired.
that's the anecdote of how potato chips were found. But also,
Mhm.
you know, we just talked about cereal earlier.
I
but
was just about to say cereal was by accident.
specifically cornflakes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was the
Cornflakes were
first cereal.
not. Cornflakes were not designed by accident. They were designed on purpose the way they are,
Mhm.
but they were originally not meant to be a breakfast food.
Oh, what was it meant to be?
Cornflakes was medicinal.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was. It was.
Yeah.
supposed to keep you pure.
You know the Kellogg's
Oh.
brand. You know Kellogg's brand.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Kellogg's was actually a doctor.
Okay.
Dr.
Brothers, I
John-
think.
Dr.
A-
John Harvey Kellogg.
A bit
created
of a
cornflakes.
quack, a little bit of a quack,
Little
some
bit.
quackery, a lot of quackery actually, a lot of quackery involved.
Is that
Um,
why his logo's a chicken? Or is that a duck?
What are you saying about me? But yeah, he wanted to make something to help his elderly mother with digestion. So
Okay.
specifically, he made as bland and as inexpensive of a food as he could with corn.
Mm-hmm.
It was meant to just be, something for her to like,
Non, I guess, and kind of
Champa
like
champa.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. And apparently it grew in popularity, and he kept trying to extol like the health benefits of like bland cereal, but everyone's like, wow, this is breakfast food now.
Yep.
Completely by accident. That being said, the original cornflakes apparently they had no sugar in them,
Mm-hmm.
and they were so hard that they would crack people's teeth.
Oh,
You're
Wow.
just eating
why
like
did he
stone
give that
chips.
to Grandma?
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
He was trying to kill her.
She was sharpening her teeth. No, maybe his grandma had really strong teeth.
Maybe she had really
Cereal.
really fierce canines.
Yeah. Sharpening them.
This one's an interesting one. I know some of us in the group, their tummies don't play well with lactose. Lactose. I have a question about that. Does Cheetos affect you? Like the cheese puffs snacks?
Not generally. I just don't like them.
I stay
Okay.
away from them. Anything that says that has dairy or any sort of like cheese coating,
Mhm.
like cheese flavored coating, I just stay away from. I don't even risk
Yeah.
it.
Harune is a bit more volatile than mine.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit. A
I'm
little bit.
just like, milk, stay away.
Yeah.
Wait, Giddy, you're lactose intolerant too?
I eat everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you eat cheese puffs?
I just don't love them, so it's not a very common thing that I eat, but I still eat them. I don't get the
I-
farts or anything, if that's what you're
I-
asking.
Wait, did you say
The-
heartburn or fart burn?
Hearts.
The farts, the farts.
I instantly regret bringing up this topic.
Why?
God,
what's
what are
wrong
your
with farts?
farts doing? How's your colon?
Oh, well,
Yes.
yeah. Does an anime
When-
girl's farts scare you? What's going on?
Listen, no, when
Oh no, we had a nice tangent the last.
it's the fact that
last time
the
about
fact that all
Kai's
three of you
balls.
His balls? Oh, please tell me more.
Balls.
Bowels.
Oh, I
Bowels.
thought it was balls. I was like, I'm here for this. Okay, please elaborate.
Oh my god. It's the
Okay,
fact
what's
that,
the regret meter at?
why am I still here? We're 16 minutes in, and it's already 16 minutes too much.
Funny enough, Kai literally said that the moment right before we hit record. He's like, why do I exist? Why am I here?
Why am
Yeah.
I here? There's 3 of them now. It's the fact that when you learn about the origin of cheese puffs, the fact that you 3 don't eat it, but I'm the only one that eats it, I'm never gonna hear the end of it from chat.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Let's go.
We want to hear it.
These 3 very classy ladies who are above eating cheese puffs are clearly
Built different.
they're not the
We
type to
hold
touch,
ourselves to a higher quality.
Mm-hmm,
Mhm.
they're not the type to touch animal feed.
What? Are
Um,
you saying?
cheese puffs were discovered accidentally when a
Oh.
Wisconsin-based farmer was trying to clean the grinder used to make pig feed and realized that the best way to clean it is to put a lot of moist corn into the machine to run it through.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the hard wet kernels would come out the other end puffy and dry. So he took a handful of these home and then seasoned it and then ate them and was like, wow, these are pretty good.
Sounds like a dojin that just took a really wrong turn. I'm just like, what am I listening to right now?
So
Yeah, I don't know how to feel
So-
about this bit of information.
cheese puffs are actually a byproduct of making pig food. And
Well, I mean, slop is just
Wait,
leftovers,
I have
right?
a-
It's not
I
necessarily
have a
bad.
tangent related to that.
oh,
Actually, with stuff being pig food.
oh,
So Mom DM went to she called it a finishing school, but then it turned out it wasn't exactly a finishing school, but it's kind of along the lines of a finishing school in Germany.
Okay.
And they're taught like a lot of house upkeeping things and cooking and laundry tricks and stuff, and how to take care of all sorts of flooring and essentially like Victorian era housekeeping stuff. Anyways, so Mom DM, one of the desserts that she missed from North America was pumpkin pie. And so
yes.
she wanted to make pumpkin
So good.
pie. But the thing is, during that time period in the area that she was in Germany, pumpkins were for pigs to eat.
Oh my
Oh.
god, really?
Yeah, so there were pumpkins. You could like find pumpkins and stuff, but people didn't eat them.
Mhm.
It was for the pigs.
Oh.
So she actually wound up having to get one of her friends at the school. Their family had a farm and like raised livestock and also had pumpkins growing for the feed. And so Mom wound up getting a pumpkin from that and made that into pumpkin pie. And everyone was like, "Wow, this is great!" And Mom DM was like, "Yeah, maybe try eating the food too."
Yeah.
German
Instead of,
pigs
like-
eating in like a lap of luxury, only
Right?
pumpkin stays.
Yeah. Can you
Mm,
imagine though, like
delicious.
what must have thought? Like you're making pig feed pie?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Like
that's
what?
essentially what Cheetos are.
Exactly the tangent.
That's why it was a tangent, but that you have like the delicious creamy yumminess that is pumpkin pie, and then
It's so good. I just
Kai
had
over here with cheesy poofs. He had so many of them, he touched his hair. That's why it's orange.
He kept having to fix his bangs.
He kept having to fix his bangs.
It's cheese
that's
puff
why
orange.
it's orange. Because you got the burrito fingers.
I hate the fact that you said that as I was brushing aside my bangs. Literally, you were calling me out. I'm just like, no, not like this.
It's okay, Mr. Cheesy Poofs, as long as you shower, you know?
Mr.
More than the
Cheese
one
Poof.
next to me.
What? What'd you say, mate?
True.
You want to fight?
No lies
Listen.
here.
I shower on the daily.
I
Yes,
shower.
the same can't be said for you.
How can you say that? You don't know.
Kitty showers twice a week, maximum.
Yeah, on a good day. Yeah, when I'm really feeling myself, I'm like, wow, I'm so fancy. I'm gonna shower twice this week. I'll have you know though, on TwitchCon, I showered every single day. I was such a good girl. I was
Good,
adulting so
good.
hard. Every night or morning, depending on if I showered, whatever. I will shower every single day.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
clap.
just had a conversation with a family member because they were kind of shocked that I showered every day, and I was like, why?
I mean, every other day I could still kind of believe it, but twice a week?
On a good week.
I shower every day because it's comfy.
Yeah, especially in the cold weather, like the shower is the only way I'm gonna warm up.
Oh, I just don't like to undress, especially in the cold weather, because then like you're cold going in and then you're cold coming out. And
Well,
I'm just
that's
like,
why you
am
turn
I
on the shower
torturing
first
myself?
and you let the whole
Yeah.
place steam up like a
Yeah, yeah.
sauna.
Yeah, and then you go in and you're like, ooh, it's toasty. And then you step inside and you're like, ow, oof, ow, ooh,
Exactly,
ow,
and then you
ouch,
have to
ow. And
rush
you
to
have
turn down the water.
You have to like contort your body awkwardly so that you can like reach the knob to turn it so it's a little bit colder and you're not scalding your.
Yeah.
Although,
It's just
about
shower
once-
things.
About once a
Mhm.
week, I do take cold showers, just because I heard it helps with like
Hero's good for
metabolism.
you. Yeah, I heard it was
Yeah.
good for you. I don't really like it though.
I
like
could- you
It
could never
sucks.
do
Cold showers are the worst, but I just tolerate
Yeah, it
it.
makes me cry.
Man,
Like,
like,
I hate it.
Kai, you're a masochist.
Well,
I
I mean, he
mean-
is here every week, so I
Yeah,
mean,
It's
true.
for
He is here
their
every week.
health.
That is cool.
I mean, Scandinavians will like cut out a hole in like a
Yeah.
frozen lake and just dip in, and I'm like, what are
Oh,
you
yeah,
I've
the-
doing?
done that. That's polar bear diving.
Polar bear dive, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah, it is a rush, but like the joys of polar bearing is that usually you have people. It's a group activity normally, and then you have a place to warm up very quickly afterwards.
Mhm.
Oh.
So it's kind of like that shock factor. It's not you sadly turning on your shower and going, "Well, I know this gets hot, but here we go."
Oh
You know,
my
that
gosh.
feels like a
Mhm.
little bit more punishing than hopping. Like, you do a cannonball and you're like, and then you get out.
It's kind of like the USB stick thing where you try to plug it in, it doesn't work, you flip it again before it works. Kind of thing. It's like showers are always too cold, then too hot, then too cold again, and then it's just right. It always
Mhm.
takes 2-3
Yeah.
turns before you get it right.
yeah.
But yeah, going back to the whole food thing.
Sorry,
I
yes.
was wondering if anyone's kind of discovered their own little, food combination they like by accident. Because I actually have.
What's yours
Nice.
then? You go ahead and start.
In university, actually, it was like I think 3 a.m, and there was just a bunch of us like hanging around in the lounge, not doing much of anything. We might have actually been playing League of Legends because I did used to play a little bit of League of Legends, like in university, and we were getting kind of hungry. So there was the only 24-hour place around us was a pizza place. So as a kind of bet, we made it so whoever lost the next match would have to order the worst pizza, as we dubbed it,
Heck
and
yeah.
everyone would kind of pick an ingredient that they thought was the worst.
Mhm.
And naturally, yours truly has lost.
Mhm.
But as a joke, they all picked like the stereotypical, like, "Oh, kids hate this" kind of like
Yeah.
ingredients. So there was like anchovies and spinach. I picked sun-dried tomatoes because I don't like tomatoes.
Mm.
Oh, the
And
sun-dried tomatoes are so delicious.
what ended up coming was instead of like tomato sauce base, it was like a pesto based pizza. It was pesto.
Ah.
So instead of spreading tomato sauce, they just spread pesto.
That sounds
So
arguably better.
a pesto based, because it's vegetables. That was the idea back then. It was a pesto base with anchovies, sun dried tomatoes, spinach, and olive oil. I don't remember who
sounds
picked
so
olive oil.
Good.
It was
Sounds quite
like
normal, I think.
that's the thing. Like back then, we were dumb and we all always ordered just like pepperoni cheese kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So like we're just like
Basic.
ugh, fish and vegetables, and it is now my regular order.
I
It sounds
love
good.
that.
Mm-hmm.
That was completely by accident as like a Batsu game where it's just like we're gonna pick the worst things for you, and it turns out it's actually really good.
It's just like, haha, yes, this punishment. This is a great punishment.
Just pretend that you keep hating it, so you'll have to
Yeah,
keep
it's like-
ordering it.
Yeah, I was gonna be, oh no, oh not this one again.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, no, it's the worst.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
I'm suffering. What about you, Giri? Have you discovered any food combinations, especially since you cook a lot?
I think for me, it's more so just like, oh, maybe I'll just add in a spice that normally maybe not go in there or whatever. So I feel like it doesn't change like the overall profile. But I think the weirdest thing that I've tried just because I was bored and I had so many in my fridge was I was making like sugar cookies, like the thin, crunchy, chewy kind. And then I had wasabi in my fridge, and then I mixed
Ooh.
wasabi into the batter, and it turned out pretty good. It was like spicy and tangy, but sweet at the same time. I'm like, okay, I can roll with this. But
I
that ended
like
up maybe
that.
like the weirdest combination. Other than that, not too much.
Nice.
Wasabi cookies.
I like that
Mhm.
because like with the wasabi in there, because different spices sort of like hit you in a different way, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like there are some that just like hurt your mouth, right? Like hurt your tongue,
Mhm.
and then wasabi just like hits the sinuses. So I
It
love
really-
the idea of like eating a cookie and having like the sweetness, but then also having your sinuses cleared at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
I
sounds
liked it so
great.
much that one time I made like a birthday cake, and they wanted something fruity, so I was like, okay, I'll just make you like a lychee birthday cake. And then I threw the wasabi back in
dang.
there again, and the lychee and wasabi actually made a really nice pairing too. And I was like, okay,
Huh.
wasabi and
Ooh.
sweet pairings. Okay, I can feel this.
Oh, that sounds so good. Oh my gosh.
You need to do a cooking episode where like just bring on all these weird mixed ingredients.
I want to do like like what is it?
Like a cursed food cooking stream?
combos or whatever.
Cursed food
Yeah.
combos.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Just trying it out and suffering, or not. We'll see.
Yeah, you might
Although
end
it
up
all-
really liking it.
It all just sounds like wasabi to you. It's wasabi on this and wasabi on that.
I tried mustard with watermelon. That was like a trending thing on TikTok for a while. I know mustard
Yeah.
isn't quite wasabi, but it's the same
I tried
family-ish.
that and it tasted like watermelon with mustard to me.
Yeah. I feel I was expecting to be this most amazing combo in my mouth, but yeah, it was just like, okay, I just
Yeah.
these two separate elements.
Yeah,
together.
it didn't like blend, which was just
Mhm.
it was unique in itself, but not anything that I would pursue again, I think.
Can I
Wasn't
ask
there-
us? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't there a whole thing in Japan before where they were like, if you have, I think it was cucumber with honey, it's supposed
Yeah,
to
it tastes like
taste
watermelon, yeah.
melon?
Wait,
Oh.
really?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have
Yeah,
like
I've
all
never
these.
heard that.
They were all like, oh, if you have cognac with soy sauce, it tastes like oysters or something like that. They have like a whole list of like all these little combinations
Huh.
that
Interesting.
they call like
I
beanbowl
remember one,
cuisine,
though, yeah.
the poor
Beanbowl
man's
cuisine.
cuisine.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Huh.
watermelon and cucumber are essentially the same thing. The only difference is that it's sweet, I guess. Like more or less.
Yeah.
I know we're
Yeah.
stretching it a little bit, but more or less it's quite
More or less,
similar.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a quick question. I know
Yes.
for a while, like before the watermelon mustard thing, I know grilled watermelon was super big. Did anyone ever try that? Because I mean, like cooked pineapple, I can see. Like that's I think is really
Yeah.
really tasty, but I don't think warm pineapple has the same or warm pineapple, warm watermelon.
It's I've tried the grilled watermelon before. My favorite modification for watermelon is just salt on it.
Right.
Like the
'cause that
grilled
brings out
the
the
grilled
sweetness.
ones didn't really do much. Also, like for vegetarian food, vegan food side of things, they like to be like, oh look, you can make watermelon into steak, and no, you can't.
No,
Yeah.
cauliflower.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
seen
like
cauliflower steaks, but
The cells on watermelon are just full of water. That's why it's watermelon. They don't turn into like steaky style stuff. You're better off with using gluten for that.
mm,
Yeah.
Tried it though. I thought it was okay, but for the most part, I didn't really eat it just as is. It was as a salad, so like a balsamic reduction.
Yeah, that makes
cheese.
sense.
and like some lettuce or some other, I forgot what other greens were there, but it was good in that application. But I never like just threw a random piece of watermelon on the Barbie and then was like, wow, this is great.
This is prime eating right here.
I don't really like watermelon to begin with, so I don't really eat.
Well, who
Then
asked
your
you?
opinion is
I love
no.
watermelon.
I love
It's so
watermelon too.
good.
It's so good.
Yeah. Give me all your watermelons.
You can have it all. You can take it all.
Mhm,
What about you, girl
please.
DM? Did you discover a food combination by accident?
My graham crackers and apple juice.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
That was mine. I haven't really found any other ones that I've been like, yes, this is a combo that I will keep pursuing. It's generally just the graham crackers and apple juice. Anytime that I'm like needing a nostalgic feeling, I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna buy myself a box of graham crackers and get some apple juice and have a good time.
I'm gonna try that now. I already
mean,
have
you-
apple cider.
Graham
But I think
crackers
it's
and apple juice sounds like a snack from kindergarten, but I'm like just imagining like fully grown DM.
Would you like to guess how old I was when I discovered this guy?
Kindergarten?
Heck yeah.
2-3 weeks ago.
No, Kai. Kindergarten. Kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten's when I discovered it, and I've continued to enjoy the flavor profiles ever since. Oh, although I did have an apple pie and cheddar ice cream a couple weeks back, and it was delicious.
I just watched a mukbang video last night of like there's this one guy, I think what's his name? Bongi or whatever. Where he always eats his food with like a giant bowl of melted cheese. And we'll just dip everything in that.
That guy.
Yeah. So last night the video I watched was him eating like an assortment of like fast foods. And he had 3 of those like McDonald's apple pies. And the first thing he did was dip it in the cheese. And I was like, what are you doing? But
cheese and apples do go together.
I was so shocked.
You always keep you keep sending me mukbang videos that you watch. I'm not shocked by the amount of food they eat or what they eat. It's always the fact that they have like a microphone in their throat where all you hear is like with everybody like
you hear
like
mouth
that,
sounds.
though, I think.
the
I personally
noise.
don't,
Oh my god!
I don't like that.
Why?
I want to be in the POV, you know. I want to be the POV of the throat, you know.
It's just like, oh my god! How do you watch this to bed? Like,
Well, the volume was on low, and I didn't want something that I was gonna have to like pay a lot of attention to. Because if I watch like a painting tutorial or something like that, I'm gonna want to watch like the painting come together. I didn't give 2 poops about this video, so
I like the sounds of cooking, like the tok 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 tok, like all the knives, all the
chopping and the sizzling.
like frying.
Yeah.
The worst one though, the worst one in every baking video is when they microwave butter and then squeeze it with a spatula.
oh my god, and make that like
that's the
squishy
goes, like,
slop
warp,
sound.
warp,
Yeah,
warp, warp.
I love that too.
I hate that noise.
I love that. I love the sound. I like the
Every other
squishy,
noise when it comes to
sloshy
cooking
sound.
sounds great, but the squishing of
Yeah.
like warm butter sounds so gross.
Oh,
It's
I
a very
specifically like
particular
the baking
sound.
sound.
It is a very
Yeah.
particular sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ASMR baking channels out there. I'm a big fan of.
Cool.
One food or flavor combination thing that I discovered on accident was, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I actually can't remember. It's been a fair amount of time, but not like 5 years or something like that. But I was in the mood for like strawberry cheesecake or something with that similar flavor profile. But because I can't have cream cheese, I was like, oh my gosh, like what can I have that could potentially like give me the same sort of result? And I was like, well, mayonnaise is pretty tangy, so I'll just use some mayonnaise. So that was the first time I like had a piece of toast. I put mayonnaise on it, I put jelly on it, and it's delicious. So Kira's face. But yeah, so my mayonnaise and jelly was born that day. And I have continued to enjoy it ever since.
No mentions of your whipped cream pizza, no mentions of your Tabasco pancakes.
I mean,
Wait, what? Harune, explain yourself.
well, so for the whipped cream on pizza, this was in high school. This was before I found out I was lactose intolerant. And my classmates and I were working on like this big semester project that was coming up that we had to do our presentation on. And so Mama Renee was like, okay, well, since, you know, like I don't want to have to like cook for everybody, and I don't want to like figure out everybody's like what they like and what they don't like, so we'll just like order pizza, like make it quick. So we just did like a basic like cheese pepperoni pizza, but I was craving like a hint of sweetness. So I was like, okay, well, what do we got? And we had whipped cream. So I was like, just put that stuff on my pizza. So the whipped cream and pizza, salty, sweet. Once again, I think as long as you like stick to basic principles of flavor, like combinations, like salty, sweet, sweet and spicy. I think for the most part, it's always gonna turn out pretty good. I have yet to be led astray with that. The only thing that I tried once that sounded good, well, it didn't even really sound all that good, but I had a savory martini. Papa Harune made me one once. It was like, he doesn't like gin, so I think it was vodka. It was vodka with a little bit of olive juice, and he put a couple olives in there. And apparently, like, that's pretty, like, standard.
An olive
for
martini? Like
I don't know. I thought my dad called it a Manhattan, but I don't think that's what it's called. But apparently it's like a fairly common drink. I took one sip and I was puking all night.
Oh no.
And at first I was like, oh my god, maybe it was strong. But Papa Rene doesn't make strong alcoholic beverages, like especially for me. Like he tries to be like kind of conservative with the amount of alcohol that he puts on there. So I think it was just the flavor combination. It was disgusting. Now, like for a couple weeks, I had to avoid olives.
A Manhattan does indeed. Well, a Manhattan usually has a maraschino cherry garnish.
Oh, okay. He did not. That was.
But there is a cocktail
olive martini, right?
that pretty much. Common. But yeah, there is an olive martini. But the thing with martinis is that they're like 100% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're very strong.
Mm-hmm. I suppose. Yeah. Well, it definitely wasn't like majority olive juice. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I was under the impression it had a couple of other things in there. But I guess it would be vodka and olive juice or gin and olive juice or whatever.
That would be a dirty martini.
Oh, that's what it was.
That is gin or vodka and vermouth and then olive.
Yes.
brine.
Okay, so there was something else in there. It was vermouth. Okay. So
vermouth is alcohol.
Yes. So okay, so it was strong by nature.
It's just alcohol with olive juice added to it. Yes.
So my memory was
tiny bit. Yeah. Anytime someone's like, "Here, have a martini," that is 100% alcohol, more or less. Like it's a splash of something non-alcoholic, and the rest is alcohol.
Like Long Island iced teas. It is not iced tea. Guys, don't get fooled.
Long Island iced tea is just a party in a glass. That's what that is.
That is.
Wait. What's in Long Island iced? I thought it was like spiked iced tea.
No,
that's what I thought too the first time I ordered it.
Iced tea is just a mix of various shots that tastes kind of like tea.
And then they put like a hint of. I think they put like a hint of cola in there for color.
Yeah.
Oh, this whole time I thought it was like Nestea.
Nope.
For example,
I thought it was lemon tea.
Exactly.
That's what I thought it was, and I hate.
Long Island generally has about 3 to 4 shots worth of alcohol in it.
Holy moly!
Yes.
So that's equivalent. So one shot of alcohol is equivalent, essentially, to a can of beer or a glass of wine.
Oh damn!
So that is one drink with 3 times the alcohol in there. And then another one is an AMF, which is a very beautiful bright blue drink that is short for adios mother onion. And it's called that because it's usually about 5 to 6 shots in one drink.
Oh my god, I want one.
How do you drink that? Oh my god.
You sip it gently.
Well, there's a reason why it's called the adios.
Yeah.
I mean, you're all pretty familiar with the fact that I don't drink.
Yeah.
Like, you all know that I don't drink. I also thought Long Island was a spiked iced tea. I thought it was just iced tea with a bit of alcohol in it.
Nope. It is a lot of alcohol in a normal glass.
You all know I don't drink much, but that was like one of the few cocktails I've ever tried.
Oh my god.
No.
You all.
Soho.
I mean, I do like Soho with Sprite. Soho with Sprite.
Yeah, Soho is pretty standard, especially like the Asian palette. I think it goes well.
Wait, what's Soho?
It's a lychee liqueur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yummy.
So Soho, Soho with Sprite's the only drink I can actually drink now, but I still don't drink it
tasty.
often. But you guys also know that I always joke about how much I hate myself. Well, I had the Long Island that night, and I wasn't joking anymore.
Yeah, no, that's gonna mess you up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I've ever felt the thing they called existential dread.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like
Oh.
I think I just like I think we got wasted and I was like sitting in like a park in the middle of the night.
Just head in
like-
hands, just like
just, like,
what is my
wondering,
life?
just, like,
you know, that's
why?
not an uncommon place to end up after a night of Long Island iced teas. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Oh no, not plural. I had one.
Yeah,
But you know what, though? That's fair.
general,
That's-
it's not uncommon to find yourself at a park
Yeah.
after consuming great amounts of alcohol. And I would say, like, if you're not a regular drinker and you have a Long Island iced tea and you drank it like it was just a regular iced tea, I would say that would be a decent amount of
Yeah.
alcohol.
It was
Yeah.
not a fun time. I remember there was a really blue drink too. Like
The
it started with a C.
AMF?
No. It started with a C, like curacao or something. Curacao.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
Blue
about.
Crystal,
I
Blue
just
Crystal
know-
is an
That
alcohol,
might
yeah.
be it. Yeah. It
Yeah.
like they were pouring shots of that like straight out of the bottle.
Yeah, that's part of
Oh,
an
not even
AMF.
diluted. Oh gosh.
I was
Yeah.
not having fun. I very much
Mhm.
remember it was like very late at night. I'm thinking like maybe 10, 11 in the park, like one of those kids' public parks.
Yeah.
Clearly, all the kids have already gone home.
Not the children's
just, like-
playground. Oh my
There
god.
was just like 3 or 4 of us, just like
Uh-huh.
loitering, and I was like completely out of my mind. And then like a gang of people on motorcycles rolled up,
Great.
Oh.
and I tried to buy fireworks from them.
Oh my god.
I mean, they
Nobody
clearly
Were you
drunk time
successful?
more.
they clearly they were not like fireworks salesmen. They were just on like having a joyride as a group. And I went over demanding their fireworks and offering to
Oh
pay.
my god. Oh.
Give me your fireworks.
Kai.
I know you're hiding them in
Yeah.
there.
Where do you keep
I-
them?
I remember very little else of that night.
Oh,
Mhm.
Kai.
I just very much remember really wanting fireworks.
Well, now I feel kind of bad because like your whole perception of like casual like friend group drinking has been tarnished
Yeah.
by this experience because you thought that you must have a really low alcohol tolerance because you drank a Long Island iced tea.
I do have a very low alcohol tolerance. I
Mm-mm.
also might be allergic to beer, I think.
Yeah, that is
Mm.
something that can
Fair.
happen.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
DM and Giddy have seen me. They know
Mhm.
how I'm what you would generally describe as a pretty big guy.
Mm.
And you would think someone with my body mass would be able to handle at least a beer,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
the thing is that like there is like, so you know, like the Asian flush,
Yes.
Mm.
that is a histamine reaction.
Yes.
That is literally an alcohol allergy, and it causes the feelings of being drunk to happen a lot faster to people. So like it's completely possible that you just get hit really hard really quick just because of your
Yeah,
genetics, and
sometimes it's
that's
not always
something
body
you
mass.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also with certain types of beer because I mean I could have like 2 or 3 Sohos with Sprite and I'd feel bad, but I'd still be alive.
Yeah.
There was a specific beer I remember having called Molson M that I
Was it
I
an
had
IPA?
it. and
Molson.
I
No, that's just like, that's a very standard Canada beer.
Oh.
yeah, it was
okay.
like whatever. I could have that one beer and I'd still be okay. But then I had a Heineken, not on the same day.
Mm.
I went out to lunch with
Oh.
some friends. We went to a sports bar, and they just was like, "Oh, we'll have like a burger and a pint."
Mm.
So I was like, "Sure, I guess I'll have the same thing." And we had a big burger, and then I just had 1 pint of Heineken.
Mm.
I got halfway through it and then immediately threw up.
Oh no.
I think
Yeah,
for me, though,
it could be
drink
that,
over
yeah.
matter.
And
Like,
this
if
was
it's
with
a
food
sweet
too.
drink, like I can drink more. But if it's super bitter and you know it's like pure alcohol, then my body's like, oh no. Drink it. I feel like sometimes it's like the placebo effect, where like your mind is playing tricks on you, or self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing.
Mhm.
Mm.
It was like I finished the burger. Like I was sipping the drink as I went. I finished the burger, got about halfway through the beer, and I was oh, I'm just going to use the bathroom real quick, and then just
Mhm.
like the burger was no longer with me.
Oh
Mhm.
no. Can I admit
So-
something? I feel like I talked about this before, but you can
Oh.
stop me if I have. But once my friend was in town because
Okay.
she went to college out of state.
Okay.
And so she was in town and she took me and another friend out to get drinks for our birthday because we have like close birthdays. And her whole plan was like, oh, we're gonna bar hop and I'm gonna get you guys drunk and I'll take care of you. Even it'll be fine. It'll be fun. Like it'll be your chance to just like relax. Like we've never like drunk together or whatever. So we're at this one bar spoiler alert, she was the only one who got super trashed. And we got kicked out of that bar. But early enough in the evening, I think I had a couple of shots of something, and I just like went to the bathroom. I ended up taking a power nap, and then I woke up feeling fantastic, and then just like had a great remainder of the night.
Just in a bar toilet, you just sat down and was like
ready to go,
turned off for a sec.
Just turn the brain off, you know, and then come back.
Power switch off for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was like, it must have been, I honestly like don't even know how long I was in there for. Maybe 5 minutes, because no one was worried about me. But I just took a really quick power nap.
Oh my god.
And I felt great. So
literally just restarted her computer.
Yeah. I just rebooted. But yeah, so like alcohol works in mysterious ways, and like sometimes like depending on like just your physical wellness that day or how much food you've had and things like that, like, you know, your alcohol tolerance just changes so drastically. Like you could have one shot and totally feel it. You could have one glass of wine and, you know, not totally feel it. Or you can have 5 shots and finally be like, oh, now I feel buzzed. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like so, I don't know. There have been days where I've felt like I was a tank. Then there have some days where like I go through half of a mixed drink and I'm like, oh no, I have to stop. So I don't know. It's weird. Alcohol's weird.
Yeah,
It really is.
I don't really like the taste of alcohol, like the aftertaste of alcohol, and I don't really like the feeling of being buzzed anyways, so
You sound like my mom.
I think it depends on your company as well. Like, like a buzz can feel amazing if you're having fun or with like close friends or whatever. But if you're by
Especially if you're in a
yourself
safe
or maybe you're not
place.
feeling it, then it's not. It's not. I remember like I had a drunk story. Like it was my friend's wedding, and the meal was like Chinese. So you know how like Chinese wedding meals are like the 10 courses. There's like
Yep.
the roast pig and blah 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 soup and whatever. Soup
Vegetables
is
with
usually like
seafood, da-da-da-da-da.
yeah. So soup was usually the 3rd course, and I mentioned soup specifically because when we were sitting down and mingling before the dinner actually started, the person beside me, which was like a friend that I know that we're not super close, but we got real close by the end of the night. It's because she took 3 shots before I even got there, and then she was like, "Giri, shots!" And she was so happy, and I was like, okay, shots. And I took a shot with her. And then now we're both happy. And now we're both like zooted, right? And then we started sitting down. It was dinner time. And then by the 3rd course, which is usually maybe like 20 minutes in, that's the soup course. She barfed on me. She was like, she looked at me.
Oh no.
She held my hand. And then she was like, I'm having a great time. Are you? And I was like, I'm ready for another shot. What about you? And before I even finished it, she was like, "Let's go!" And
Oh my god!
over me. Good thing I had like the big thick napkin that the restaurant gave me. So I don't think she realized what she did. I think she knew she barfed, but I don't think she knew she barfed on me as well. So I was like, okay, I'll get you sorted. And then I brought her to the washroom. I cleaned her up. I washed her down. She got some salt on her dress. And she was like, "Giri, thank you so much." And then I'm like, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. Just go home and have fun, right?" And then like halfway through our soup, she legit, I think she passed out.
In her soup.
Her head was like hung down.
Oh no!
And I was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh no!
And then and then her husband was beside her, and I'm like, I think do you think she needs to go? And then they're like, I don't know. And then I'm just like, bro, like your wife is like unconscious right now.
You don't know.
So we never saw her. Like the story is just like, yeah, like that friend never made it past soup course because she just passed.
And then she was gone.
And then I was like helping her and holding her, like I was like holding her hair back and everything in the washroom. But I was like half drunk as well because I'm very much a lightweight. So one shot, like it means a lot to me. So, and I was just like stuttering back into the washroom and back and forth. And then they were like, "Oh, thank you for taking care of me." "Oh, don't worry about it. You know, if it was me, I would like it if someone took care of me too." But it was just really funny
I mean,
that
to
she
be
didn't
fair,
realize.
just having been to Asian weddings, just getting to soup course is in and of itself an ordeal. 20 minutes is a very, very generous like estimation.
The adults go crazy. You think it's the children, or like not children, but like the I guess the same age group as the bride and groom that go crazy.
The parents go
No.
wild.
The parents go
Like the
absolute
middle
nuts.
age, like aunties and uncles, they party like it's 1999. Like they're partying like tomorrow's the end of the world. And I'm like, holy crap! They're just like walking
Yes.
around with the Chinese like baijiu. And
Ah.
I'm just like,
Yep.
more. And I'm just like, it's like 60% alcohol too, right? And I'm just like, oh no, auntie, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
good. I don't want
all
to die
hype
tonight.
men.
And it's like the food is so slow. It's not 20 minutes to get soup. It's 20 minutes per course. You're not getting the
Mhm.
soup till like an hour in.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, no, they go wild.
They'll always give you like a bite of food. They'll give you like one piece
Yeah.
of bok choy, one piece of
Mhm.
abalone, and then it's like 20 minutes later they'll be like, okay, here's the next course.
That-
Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. Chinese
no,
weddings are
yeah.
wild. They're
Oh
really
my
crazy.
God.
my cousin's wedding was 8 courses, and it took us I
Mhm.
think 4 hours.
Oh my god, no.
I mean, to be fair, there's entertainment in the middle too. I'm assuming, right? There's like
Yeah.
singing
Like
and
they had like all the
dancing
church
and-
friends come
Mhm.
up, and they were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
telling stories about like the groom and
Mhm.
the wife,
Oh.
and then they had like this whole they played musical chairs for whatever reason.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cute.
Mhm.
I, for
Um,
some reason, cannot stand stories at a wedding. Like, from the best man and the maid of honor, fine, that's it. I don't want passing
Mhm.
around
You
the
don't want
mic
anything
and
else,
people.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
hear it. I don't care that much.
Harune just sitting there jaded, just like, I just
Yeah.
want my food.
No, yeah, we had like
catch the flowers.
it's like, auntie's got to tell a story, then uncle's got to tell a story, but we're
Yeah.
an Asian household, so there's like maybe 6 aunties and 8 uncles, and it's just like,
oh
oh boy, we're gonna be here.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's madness.
Oh my god. Oh, that made me really like. I don't know. That triggered me almost. It's like
And
next time I go to
I'm-
an Asian wedding.
I've never told because then my other cousin had a wedding,
Mm.
but then COVID hit,
Mm.
and it
Oh.
was very unfortunate that they had to scale it down to just a fancy dinner,
Mm.
and that lasted maybe an hour and a half, and I'm so sorry for them, but thank God.
No, truly though, and I'm sure it
out.
was, like cost so much less for them too. And I don't know. I'm sure they appreciated it in the end. I know,
Mhm.
like when you're planning for it, you want it to be this like extravagant thing. Like you want to make sure that you're like pleasing all of your guests and that it's like aesthetically, like the
Yeah.
right vibe and
Mhm.
stuff like that. You have all these expectations, but like it only lasts for a day. People are gonna, get drunk and they're just there to have a good time. Like, will they really care? The answer is probably no.
No, I'm
Um,
gonna care if you have a beautiful flower arch or not. They're not gonna care.
exactly.
Fine.
But for Asian people, at least, they will always remember the quality of the food and the
Yeah.
quantity.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of
Mhm.
Asian weddings, though, oh my God, Indian weddings go hard.
Oh my god,
I
they
bet.
do! I love
Attending
it.
one. It looks so fun though.
I
I
know.
had to go to a Chinese wedding, so I took a day off work. My friend had to go to an Indian wedding. It took a week and a half.
Oh my god, yes!
It's a cool ordeal. You guys like a whole week-long thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Wow.
flew to India, and the wedding lasted from Monday till the next Tuesday.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Someone invite me to your wedding if you're Indian, please.
I feel like Indian weddings and Chinese weddings are similar in that it's very rooted in like tradition and
Mm.
culture. So there's like a
Mhm.
lot of things and procedures that you have to tick off and check off on the to-do list, or else it doesn't really count as you properly memorializing or honoring the wedding, like in an Indian wedding. So apparently they take a week. For Chinese people, it just takes a day, but it's like still very like detailed list of things you got to do.
Yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that's
Mhm.
like, well, if you don't do this, it's bad luck, or if you do this,
Yeah,
it's bad luck. Like you
There's
have
something
to.
honorable if you don't do it. Yeah, and
You
then
have
like
to
Yes.
greet your,
rolling your
greet
grave or
your
something. Yeah.
exactly greet your relatives in a certain order. You have to do this. You have to
Yes,
do that.
even picking the
yeah.
wedding date, like it has to be in an auspicious day.
Yeah.
Which is like literally like a day of fortune or like a good day marked on the calendar. Like
Yeah,
it's wild.
my friend literally had to go to a feng shui master.
Yes.
Had to give both their birthdays and the time that they were born, and then the feng shui master has to calculate to see if they were meant to be. And I'm like, bro, you're already engaged. Like you're already planning the wedding. Why are you calculating this now? Number one, and then number two, like what are you gonna do? Like change the break up? Like change the date? I don't even understand.
Yeah,
So, like,
exactly.
why do it right before the wedding when you should have done it when you started dating if you're really gonna do this, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, no, but for real though, some of my friends actually called off weddings because the feng shui master said that it was a bad match, and
That's
parents
wild.
refused to let them go through with it. And I'm like, bro, I'm so
That's-
sorry.
I'm so
What's
sorry, but
happening?"
Really dumb.
They take it seriously. Like some
That's-
Asian parents, they take it as
Yeah.
gospel.
To me, that's on the same level as like if you crack open a fortune cookie and says don't do it and she takes the ring
Yeah.
off. Like
Yeah, for real. They had to break up. Like some of them were forced to. I'm like, oh my
that's
god.
nutty.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not common, but I've had like 1 or 2 friends that had that.
That's
happen. I'm like,
still wild. The fact that that happens at all is just
Mhm.
baffling.
Mhm.
Baffling.
Baffling. Yeah.
Baffling.
Have we
Baffling.
have we
Sorry,
made it to the second topic yet?
Nope. I'm so
Well, an
sorry.
hour in and we're still.
Okay, you're just like taking the full control over where we're talking about today. Like,
Yeah.
I like it though. It's nice.
Yeah, this was just the natural flow of conversation. I dig it.
Are we going GHK order or are we going down the row?
We're doing K, GH, or we can just go in row order. We can make Giri go next.
Oh, okay. So in all transparency, I didn't know I had to think of a topic. So for the listeners and viewers at home, my topic is,
I mean, we did talk a lot about weddings, which wasn't
Mhm.
Kai's original topic, so I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't really know how we got there.
I don't know either. I think it was because drinking and then getting really drunk and then Giri's wedding experience.
Party. Yeah. I honestly, I was just gonna ask what everyone's like worst like kitchen horror story was or something like that.
That's
Usually that-
appropriate.
okay.
I love that.
that's a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Lead
a
by
good one.
example though. What's
Yeah.
your worst story?
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Well, I mean, I did burn rice on stream, and
Oh, no!
like,
Mm-hmm.
I never let me look
Sacrilege.
down. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot
No.
to wash rice once on stream, and now chat never lets me live
Yuri.
it down.
Oh my god.
I just
Giri, can you tell them about the cake?
which one?
The here, I'll DM you.
Is it the pineapple one?
I would like a pineapple cake, please.
Do you know?
I
do you know
think that one was, yeah.
Oh, that. Okay, wait.
Because that
Okay.
one-
All I'm gonna say is, viewers and listeners at home, it might get a little graphic.
yeah.
Let's
Um,
go.
It's traumatizing and injury wise. So I was this is like a few years back before COVID, and I love baking. That's like my true hobby. I know I cook a lot on stream and stuff, but my true hobby is in baking. I love
Mhm.
making cakes and stuff. So usually for friends' birthdays, I kind of not that anyone asks, but I volunteer to make the birthday cake.
Oh, that's
um,
so sweet.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try making this like coconut pineapple cake kind of thing. And I thought I wanted to be cute and do some different decorations. And I found online that you can make these pineapple flowers by dehydrating them. So you want to use you want to get your pineapples really thinly sliced. I kind of cut them in like a general flower shape and then cut them into thin slices. And then if you bake them over a upside down muffin tin at a low temperature in the oven, it'll theoretically shrink and droop down because of gravity and take the form of the upside down muffin tin, which is kind of like an erect flower kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cute. So I tried that and I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I realized that I can't really cut the pineapple in slices thin enough with my hands just because it's like, pineapple with the skin off, it's kind of slippery and whatever.
Mhm.
I rummaged through my kitchen and I found this old mandolin, but there was no hand gripper on it, like the guard on it. So I'm just like, okay, well, the pineapple's huge, right? Like, what am I gonna do? Slide off a huge watermelon? I mean, pineapple? That'd be so silly. So there I go, slicing a few slices, and then it's got to a point where maybe the pineapple is maybe 3 inches thick now. So
Wait, I'm scared. Are you gonna get cut? Because I'm getting
It's going there,
scared.
Harune. It's going there. So I'm
scared.
like gripping it, like gorilla gripping this, because it's only 3 inches tall now. And then I'm just like, I got this. I can just slowly shimmy it down. I'll be careful. It's gonna be fine. I'm an adult. I can do this. And then what happens? My hand slips and it just goes straight halfway through the mandolin. And so on my thumb now, on the base of my thumb, the day that the incident happened, half the again, graphic, I'm sorry, half the meat, not even the skin, it was meat. There was flesh on it, and it was half dangling off my hand. And then I was trying not to freak out, because if I freak out, there's no way of salvaging the situation. So I was like, this is me at home, and then I was just like, I quietly was just like, Oni bro, are you there? And then he was like, whoa, hold on, what happened? And I'm just like, nothing, but I need your help, because I didn't want to freak him out either. I was just like, nothing, but can you help me? And then I think he can tell from the sound of my voice that I was a little distraught. So he's like, okay, hold on, I'm gonna finish my league game and then I'm gonna help. I'm like,
Finish your league game? Are you kidding?
I'm like, okay, how many minutes? And he's like, oh, like 10. And I'm like, oh, okay,
I may
cool,
die
cool,
by then.
And then I think he can tell that I'm kind of like panicking a little bit. So he finished. I felt like it wasn't that long. I didn't have to wait very long. In the meantime, I was just trying to use like paper towel and shit and pressing it down, seeing how bad the injury was, and it was pretty bad. It's like 1 inch like in length. And then he's like, okay, what did you do? Did you cut yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, okay, let me see. I think he was just thinking I nicked something. I showed him the muscle dangling, and he was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
He started panicking because he has a fear of blood. So even like a paper cut, he will start feeling faint a little. Well, maybe not a paper cut, that's an exaggeration. But like anything beyond that, he will start feeling faint. So this was bad. And he was just like, oh my god. Oh my god. I'm just like, can you not panic right now and find a way to patch me up? And he's like, okay.
This isn't helping.
He was just running around with his like hands like fluttering. He's like, okay, what do I do? I gotta and I'm just literally over the sink just going like, I'm gonna literally die from blood loss right now. But I'm like calm, right? Well, like calm as calm as I can be. But Oni bro just like running with a chicken with his head cut off.
Or are you panicking more than me right now?
And then he was just like, okay. And then I'm just like, and then I'm like, okay, well, I mean, should we call the ambulance? Because I don't know, like, if this is like 911 material. So he was like, okay, maybe I'll just drive you to the ER. So he just like slapped like some paper towel on me, and he's like, okay, hold it. And then he drove me to the emergency. And then halfway through, he was like, how is it? Is it bleeding? And it just the paper towel just completely soaked through. Like the whole towel was just red, and it was like three layers of it. It was all completely red. And I was just holding them like, oh, I cut myself. And the nurse was like, let me see, because usually there's like they're kind of just like they doubt like the extent of your injury, because they want to like make sure that like the most serious wounds or situations get seen first. I showed him the paper towel. That okay, you can go in.
Yeah, please.
Oh my gosh.
They ushered me really quickly, and then I had to get the frozen thingy going, the cryo whatever, to freeze the
liquid
skin.
nitrogen.
Yeah, so the doctor can sew me back up. I think I ended up getting 9 stitches. I actually got a student doctor, but she was very good at her job. She was calm, she was precise, she knew exactly what she was doing, and she was very professional about it. I was actually very happy I got her, but the whole time Oni bro was just like, oh, does that hurt? Oh.
You think?
Oh. I'm just like, can you like shut the fuck up? I try not to panic the whole time. It's my fucking hand that's like halfway falling off, and you're the one that acts as like the hand is the one falling off. He's like, oh, I can't watch right now, but he's still watching. He's
oh
like,
my god, Oni bro.
Oh no!
You're such an asshole. Just like shut up. But we got through it. And I had my 9 stitches. I got bandaged up. I went home. But don't forget, I still didn't finish my pineapples yet. I went home. I finished so I didn't keep cutting the pineapple. I just left it. I had like a few slices. I was just going to roll with it. So I finished the pineapple. I finished icing my cake. I finished decorating my cake. I packed it up. I went to my friend's house. I partied. I ate dinner. Halfway through the night, the cryo kind of wore off. So that's when I started to really feel like the pain of also the stitches. Then I started not feeling very good. But I was like, this is amazing. I love doctors. Wow. Medicine, am I right? And I was like blowing through like the cake making process. But yeah, I ran out of steam. It started to really hurt, and I went home, and then I hid it from my dad because I knew that he was gonna yell at me. So to this day, I don't think my parents know that I have this injury, but it took me maybe like 2 weeks, a solid 2-3 weeks to heal. So now I have a permanent backwards J on my right hand, and the place where it's kind of like lifted up, where the muscles like rejoined, I guess, there's actually no feeling there. So I can still feel everything, just except for like that J outline is where I lost sensation and stuff. But it's like a funny story to tell.
Funny is a relative word.
It was just more funny because Oni bro was like,
oh my God, just losing it. You're like, can you please like crisis situation?
Yeah, I'm just literally on the sink, like my hand bleeding. I'm just like, you're really not helping right now. Like, okay, I got this.
Oh my
That
goodness.
was the funniest part.
He's so stoic though, so like imagining him freaking out is just hilarious.
Yeah, like Onibro's very serious. He's very like rational
He's
thinker.
always
He's
been
very
very
like
calm,
step by step. Yeah, he's very step by step thinker, critical thinker. But when it comes to like blood, or maybe because he just wasn't used to a bad injury on me, so he panicked, and also with the fear of blood and everything, he's like, oh my god.
That is
He's just
kind of hilarious.
Hilarious.
Like you go, like you know how people, like you hold on to your knee and you start hunching over.
Yeah.
I don't feel so good. Oh, I don't. He's like hunching over.
God.
I'm just like, can you stop hunching and get some band-aids, please?
Oh my god.
You know, just like you try to literally at one point got like the band-aids, like the medium size, like regular one.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, how many do I need to cover it up? And I'm just like, bro, I really don't think that's gonna work.
That is such a great mental image. Just keeled over, just okay.
He looked like he was having a baby. I'm just like,
Oh
bro,
God.
please, just like get your shit together, help me.
Oh my
Sir,
god.
no, it's not the time, please.
That's so good. Sorry, I'm sorry you're going into labor, Oni bro, but I have a thumb that's almost off. So
Yeah.
oh my god, that's so good.
I actually had something related not to the cooking bit, but to the hospital bit.
Wait.
Because I had to go to the hospital for a bit, and the doctor very casually just said, "Oh, yeah, I see how it is. Yeah, if it was me, I would have scheduled you for. I'd schedule you for like surgery." I was like, "Oh, wait, like how bad is it?" He's like, "Oh, if it was me, you'd have surgery last week."
Good.
Oh,
Oh,
I
like
think-
oh, like that.
Oh,
That he's like, yeah. He's
no.
like, I don't know how you're still fine. I was like, oh,
Oh,
oh.
oh no.
And now I don't have like I also have a numbed feeling in my left foot, so I kind of relate to
shit.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
he's literally just like he was so calm about it. Just like, yeah, I don't know how you're still the way you are.
Oh.
Like the fact that you're not paralyzed is great.
Shit. Oh my god.
They're like you had two potential outcomes. You'd either be paralyzed from the waist down, or you'd be in adult diapers for life, and somehow you're still okay. So let's get you on the surgery table. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, never tell me the
Little
odds.
spooky.
yeah I had a spinal injury, so
Oh no. I'm assuming you found this through like a regular yearly checkup, or were you just
No.
legitimately feeling unwell for some reason?
my I thought it was just like an achy back,
Ah, I see.
and I left it alone for a year.
Oh damn.
Like my back was aching for a year before I decided, okay, I think it's time to go see a doctor. And he's just like, yeah, this is really bad.
Oh no.
Hmm.
It's like it's just the stress of work. Don't worry. I got
Yeah,
this. It's fine.
it's
I live
like-
with this.
It was like a herniated disc leading to a pinched nerve,
Mm-mm-mm. Oh
and
shit.
like the
Oh,
nerve
no.
was pinched for a year.
Oh. How
It
are you
was-
even able to still like stand and sit upright for a year?
Oh,
my
it was
God.
really bad. It was like getting out of bed took me 40 minutes.
Ooh.
Not the whole getting
Oh.
ready thing, getting dressed thing. Literally sitting up and stepping off the bed took 40 minutes.
Oh. Oh no. I'm so sorry.
No,
That
no,
does
but
not sound like a fun time.
it's better now. It's better now. So like post surgery, it was okay. But
Mhm.
no, yeah, this was about kitchen disasters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, kitchen disasters.
Yeah, DM. Any kitchen disasters?
Let's see. Cooking wise, when I was younger, one of my older siblings' friends came over, and I had like a crush on this sibling's friend. And so the friend came over and I was like, he's great. And I was decided I'm going to make apple crumble.
Ooh.
And I made the apple crumble, but the top part of it didn't look super duper great.
Ooh.
It wasn't a very pretty apple crumble. I can make pretty apple crumble, but I was pretty flustered, so I hacked it up a bit making the apple crumble.
That's cute.
And then like I like tentatively like come into the room as like the younger sister who's like bringing the snacks over, and I was too flustered. Like when I get tired or flustered, I tend to like mix my words on accident. And I was just like, we made eye contact. I made eye contact with the friend guy, and I was like, it looks better than it tastes. Don't worry.
Oh,
And I was just absolutely mortified because I was just like, oh god, he's gonna think I'm stupid.
It tastes.
Both of them and just like dipped, but
That's great.
that one's just the one that I still, like when you have a memory and you're just like, oh god, why did I do that?
Yeah.
That's that kitchen disaster memory, but the actual like injury disaster wise was with this same
injuries.
sibling. We used to have to do dishes together. Well, one of us would be responsible for doing like one part, like the parents were like, yeah, we're gonna make you guys work together so you can learn teamwork for making doing the dishes. We hated doing the dishes. It would take us like 2 hours to do it because we were just both so not wanting to do the dishes. And one of the times I was responsible for rinsing and the sibling was responsible for washing the dishes. So I have my hands in the other side of the sink and I'm like rinsing off the dishes and putting them in the drying rack and then drying them if the drying rack gets full. And my sibling was washing our largest knife.
Oh.
And wasn't having the best of times doing the dishes.
No.
Sibling was like, I hate doing dishes. And my sibling dropped the knife onto my hand in the dish pit. And it cut me.
No.
And I screamed. It wasn't that big of a cut. Like, it didn't require any stitches or anything. It was definitely like a larger, deeper cut on my hand, though. And then my sibling had to finish the rest of the dishes by themselves.
Oh my god.
But from then on, I was like, I am never going to do this side of like the taking care of things because your negligence was that.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh my god. Oh, I hate injury stories. They make me so squeamish because I don't know what to expect. I never know how bad the injury is or anything like that until you like get to it. So my stomach is just in knots. I'm like, what's it gonna be? Oh my god. Whew, okay. Well, I'm glad it wasn't that deep and that it didn't require stitches.
Yeah.
But that's still
It was
still
traumatic.
terrifying. Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine.
Oh my god. Well, for better or for worse, I did not do a lot of kitchen stuff growing up. I mean, I was in charge of dishes. But Mama Rune, even if you like tried to learn cooking from her, or even if you were like to offer her help, she would start off by like trying to instruct, and then she would just get so fed up because it either wasn't fast enough or not the way exactly how she would do it. So she would just eventually just like take over. And it would end up as like a big argument. So like I never like a lot of the cooking that I learned to do was after I moved out. And now Mama Rune recognizes my abilities in the kitchen. But like Giri, I do love to bake. Like that is where my passions lie, especially because Mama Rune does not know how to bake. So like she uses the oven as storage.
Oh
But I'll use the oven to actually like make baked things. And Papa Rune, being Caucasian, absolutely loves like the American classes, like a good old chocolate chip or and things like that. So like I'm the baker of the family, and I'll make them treats and stuff. There was two injuries that occurred in the kitchen, but was not cooking related. So I don't know if that's against the rules, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. When I was 5, do you guys remember the show Little Bear? Was that a show?
Yes.
You guys?
Yes.
I know that one, yeah.
I know of Little Bear.
So, the kitchen dining set that we had at the time was like the chairs, a very like standard chair where it has the arc for your back and then it has bars that go down vertically. You know, right? So you can rest your back against your back, just doesn't go like straight through the chair, right?
Okay.
So I was watching Little Bear and I was kneeling. So I was like 5 years old. So I was kneeling on the chair and the back of the chair was facing the TV in the kitchen. And I had my left arm hooked through the bar, up over the, or through the bars, plural, up over the back of the chair. And then I was just sort of like resting my head on my chin, and I was tipping.
That's not a good way of.
No, it's not. And I was
yourself.
tipping the chair like forward a little bit, like rocking on it.
Oh no.
And after about like the second or third tip, I remember distinctly thinking, you know, this is probably kind of dangerous. I shouldn't do it. And I was like, well, one more tip. I'll just do it one more time.
Oh, no.
And because I was conscious of what I was doing, so I tipped forward, fell forward.
Ooh.
And my body weight plus the chair landed on my arm. And because it was all of that force essentially being applied through, like, on the bar, like on the wooden bar of that chair, so it actually split my left arm's bone in half.
Oh,
And so Mama Renee comes in because she heard me fall and I cried. And so she comes in, she helps me up off the floor and she grabs my arm and she looks at it and I remember to this day, looked at it for a second and went, ha ha, your arm's shaped like a banana, ha ha. And she just started laughing. And I was like, so I didn't believe her. I was like, you know, my arm really hurts. I fell and I'm scared and now you're laughing? Like, that's not funny. So she made, and this whole time I thought that she was just like trying to be like, oh, it's okay. Like, here, I'll make a little sling for you. Like, kiss and make it better, right? Which is not her style at all. Like, she does not do this normally. But she made me a sling with my favorite Blinky. Blinky. And she was like, all right, time to go to the hospital. And I was like, this game has gone too far. And I like was like running away from her. I was like, no, you can't.
What is this farce?
Exactly. I'm like, let's end this charade. Like, don't tell me. She was like, but your arm's banana shaped. We have to go to the hospital. And I was like, no, we don't. And she was like, no, really, we have to go. And I was like, oh, okay. So, but I asked her to this day, I was like, you laughing was probably the worst thing you could have done because I just felt so hurt from that. I was physically and emotionally hurt. She was like, I've read, like, they say when your child is injured, you're not supposed to panic. Like, you're supposed to play it off. So, like, so you laugh instead? Like,
yeah, you laugh it off so they themselves don't think it's something
so they don't
terrible.
panic.
Yeah. In context, you know, in retrospect, it makes sense. But like at the time, I was like, "How dare you laugh at my suffering?" Like I was just very like,
"You mock me, mother."
Exactly. And she goes, "How dare you call my arm a banana?" Like, and I couldn't look at it.
Drama funny to you?
Exactly. Does this amuse you, woman? But I just remember like not being able to look at my arm. Like I was like, she put it in a sling. Like she's saying it looks like a banana. I don't want to see if she's right or wrong. But she was like, it's time to go to the hospital. I was like, no, we're not going. And the other time was she just came back from grocery shopping, Mama and Papa Renee, and she had bought this watermelon. It all comes back. And she does not like putting large produce on the counter. She's just somehow like afraid that it'll warp the counter or something. So she put it on the floor. And I was still in elementary school at that time. So when I broke my arm, I was 5. I think when this happened, I was 6 or 7. And I was playing with like a balloon that was not filled with helium, but just like a mouth blown balloon. So it had some like buoyancy, but it wasn't like staying up in the air. So, you know, like when you're a kid, you play like, don't let the balloon touch the ground, right?
Yes.
And I was playing this. I wanted to make an extra challenge for myself. So I said, not with hands. So I'm just going to play this just using my feet. So,
I think we've all played this game.
Yes. So Mama and Papa Renee were bringing the groceries into the house. That watermelon was on the floor, and I was kicking this balloon around, and I had kicked it just out of reach. So I stretched my leg to like kick it and send it up in the air so that, you know, I wouldn't have to like freak out about it being too low. And I kicked the watermelon, and my right foot's big toenail popped off. Like,
Oh.
So it was still connected at the cuticle, but there was it just like had removed itself from like the rest of the toe, and there was blood everywhere. So that one didn't require a hospital visit, it just a bucket of ice water. And like lots of gauze and wrapping and things like that. Fun fact, after that injury I couldn't wear like shoes that covered the toe because the bandages wouldn't allow my foot to enter a shoe. So I had to wear sandals to school, and like my 500-pound teacher stepped on my foot. So
Ow!
Oh my god. Oh,
like
poor
just
baby
my luck.
Harune. Baby Harune's been through some stuff.
I'm so glad that somehow Harune has still managed to have trust in humanity after all the things baby Harune's been through.
Well,
oh
I
my
think
goodness.
maybe having all of these injuries, like, early in life has sort of taught me to be very aware of my surroundings and even like with other people. So, like for example, not a kitchen story, but like I don't remember if it was at a dentist office or like an optometrist. But I know it was raining really, really hard that day. And there was an elderly gentleman who had just finished his appointment and he was leaving. And I remember looking outside the window and I saw how bad it was raining. It was like pouring, like cats and dogs. And this gentleman was parked right in the handicap parking, so it wasn't a far walk. But I think he had a cane in one hand and then was carrying his umbrella in the other. And I was like, somehow this looks like a recipe for disaster. Like, I think this man might slip and fall. So I was watching, but I didn't want to like make this man feel uncomfortable by like running out there and be like, let me help you to your car, old man. Like some people don't like being offered help in that way.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I was just watching him, and sure enough, he tumbled. So me and two friends ran out there, and thankfully he didn't fall hard or very fall. It was just like a slip, but I don't know. I like to think that just like having those injuries prior has just like made me aware of like what's a hazard and like what could potentially go wrong.
Yeah.
Sort of,
yeah.
yeah. So thankfully the old man was fine. And we just helped him in his car, and things like that. So I hope he managed to get home okay. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm fine. But that toenail that broke off, so it eventually grew back. Like it's a healthy toenail. Except for some reason it's much more sensitive to the cold than like all my other toenails.
Aww.
So you know how like when
happens,
yeah, so you know how like when a person passes away, like because there's a lack of blood flow, like the color drains from the nails, and so it's like a deep, like bruised purple color.
Yep.
So when my feet are cold, that one big toenail will look like the toenail of a deceased person, and all my other toenails will be perfectly fine.
Oh no! It's like, are you okay? Are you frostbitten? You're like, no, I'm just cold.
Yeah, it's just this one toe. It's just like deeply purple. And everything else is fine. But like I like to think it's like my, they have like thermal nail polish. So like you can like change it depending on whether you're like hot or cold. I should say my toe is just like a thermal polish toe. Yeah. Ain't that just the way?
Ain't it just the way?
Yeah. So those two injuries happened in the kitchen, but was not like a culinary, not due to culinary reasons.
It still counts. You're in the vicinity.
It's just a kitchen disaster by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible things happen in the kitchen. That is all.
I think your viewers this week are gonna be like, "What is happening?
What is wrong with VTubers? Oh my god!"
I apologize retrospectively about all of the injuries that we're talking about.
Maybe I'll have to put a trigger warning in the description.
Probably have to put a warning on this one to be like, "Hey, content warning. There's some. We talk about some graphic stuff here."
Yeah.
We got some.
Poor Kai, and he does not like descriptions of gore. Like that scares him.
Like body horror.
I mean, my kitchen disaster is way less than what you guys had to go through.
What's yours? Tell us.
If we're talking about like, because the story I originally was going to tell didn't involve bodily injury. I was just super cocky as a teenager, thinking, oh, I could make food without recipes. I could this and that. Like, it wasn't even an established recipe. It was just like, oh yeah, I could totally make like saying whatever fancy thing was in my head, like something chocolate ganache with this and that, like not having any clue what ganache was. So, in my head, it was just runny chocolate that you poured over something else.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I thought, yeah, I'll just melt
Great.
some chocolate. So I put like, we had like a little glass saucepan. I put the glass saucepan on the heat and just turned on the heat of like a dry heat.
No.
Oh no.
Then I'm like, what's
Goodness,
a
no.
double bath? I don't know. So I just had like this glass pot sitting on the sauce, like sitting on the element, heating up.
Oh god.
No.
And then I just unwrapped a bar of chocolate and tossed it in.
Oh no.
And then I think 3 seconds later, the kitchen was filled with smoke.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah,
It-
I wonder why.
It skipped the melting chocolate bit straight into the fusing chocolate to the glass bit.
Oh god.
Oh no.
I instantly ruined the pot. It burned all the chocolate, and the whole
no.
house smelled like
Oh
fire.
no.
How much trouble were you in? Tell us.
Oh.
Was Mama Kai very, very upset?
She beat you with rolled
No.
newspaper.
But Papa Kai was not happy.
I bet.
No.
Oh no.
But if we're talking about like kitchen place injuries, I mean, like I've nicked my hand a few times cutting this and that, but
Yeah.
I think I once grabbed a cookie tray without an oven mitt,
Oh no.
Oh, ow.
and like the fingerprint on like my middle finger on like one of my hands is like
Oh no.
permanently wrinkly.
Oh my gosh.
Like the skin just kind of warped.
Well, now you know if you commit a crime, you're not gonna get caught.
They're gonna find
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They either
Find
will
the man
find you
with the
very
wonky
easily,
finger.
or they never will find you.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've injured myself too much in the kitchen.
Hmm.
Most of the time, it's like, yeah, just like little nicks on the fingers when I'm like cutting vegetables or whatever.
Oh my goodness. That's
But-
still nicks are frightening still. Like
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't,
Like-
no, nothing. I've never. Well, no,
Yeah.
I've never received an injury that required stitches.
good.
I've had the post surgery and all that, but I've never broken a bone in the kitchen. I've never
Yeah.
popped the toenail off in the
Yeah.
kitchen. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
haven't had any of that either.
Yeah, me neither.
like everyone always says I'm careless in the kitchen when they like watch me cook,
Mhm.
because like I don't do the whole neko no te thing. I don't do the careful cutting hand. I kind of just like wing everything. But
Mhm.
like as long as I have a general idea where my fingers are, I think I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As long as you're aware, you don't have to like have the little
Mhm.
bear claws and whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think my experience in the kitchen is much more tame.
Well, thank
Just the
goodness.
standard,
Though.
just the standard Nixon
Yeah.
burns.
Yeah, and that's fine, as it should be, as God intended.
Well, that was a good topic on
Yeah,
things.
good job, Giri.
That was the whole thing.
Which I've got a good segue into my topic though, because of Harune's mentioning helping out the old man that had fallen over.
Yeah.
I've fallen
What
over
is
and I
a
can't
like
get up.
a spontaneous good thing that you've done that you remember? I'll go first because I have a good example on it. So the night before my flight out to TwitchCon, I was packing. Yeah, Gary knows this one because I was live messaging her when this happened. So I had given myself like the whole day to get ready. So I was like packing things, cleaning up my place, and like taking care of like organizing stuff, making thumbnails, getting YouTube videos updated, and blah blah blah. So everything would automatically go up when I was away. And it gets to the evening time and I'm like, man, I'm super hungry. I don't want to go and buy anything and like have it back at my place because then I'm going to be gone for a bit. It would be bad when I come back. I don't want to come back to garbage.
Right.
So I go downstairs and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the restaurant and have myself treat myself to a nice meal before my trip. And I have to get up super early to get in my flight. So I go check my mailbox at the bottom of the building and there's this woman there. And she's like the like a regular apartment style building, you have like a fob that you have to use to get into the doors, and it's like a double door thing, so you have to go through two of them. And the mail section is in like the middle part, so that the mail people can't get into like the residential area for safety. And so like I'm checking my mailbox, and this older woman is like, could I ask you to let me in if my fob doesn't work anymore for some reason? And I'm just like, yeah, sure. So she goes out, she comes back, like checks her fob works. I'm like, is everything all right? And she's like, I'm staying at an Airbnb in here and I'm supposed to fly out home tomorrow. I've been here for a week. I went to take the garbage out to help tidy things up for the owner, and my code doesn't work to get into the door anymore.
Oh, no.
And I was like, okay, that's weird. How many times did you try? And she's like, I tried multiple times, and the code box for the door is one of those Wi-Fi enabled ones so that the host can update the code wirelessly.
Uh-huh.
And so she had just gone out with the garbage bags. Her phone and her wallet are inside of her Airbnb.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, yikes.
Sheesh.
Okay. And she's like an older woman too, and like definitely distraught, keeping it together. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, you know what? I can help this lady. Like, it shouldn't take too long. I can get food later. Like right now, helping this woman is a little bit more pressing, I think. So I wind up trying to contact Airbnb on my phone, but she can't log in because on my, like, she wants to log in on my phone. She can't log in because it does the verify your Google account,
which is on her phone.
On your phone. And she's like, I can't do this right now because like this thing. I was like, okay, let's go back up to my unit and I can use my computer and contact them via my Airbnb account because this can't be like that unique of a situation that they haven't encountered it before.
Right.
So she winds up coming up to my place and I'm like, I apologize. I'm traveling tomorrow and my room is a disaster. Just ignore it. And she's like, oh, that's fine. Wind up spending, I open up the chat, wind up calling them, have to be put on hold. They're like, okay, we need to verify some stuff. We do the verification with her, but then they're like, okay, we have to talk to the owners of the Airbnb unit. Can we call you back in 30 minutes?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, it's fine. It's fine.
I guess no food today.
Everything is
Dying
awesome.
of hunger. I am so hungry at this point. But like, no, we're gonna help this woman, help her with this stuff. So finally get in contact. I have my phone on speaker mode as we go over to where her unit is and retries the code, and then they update it while she is retrying the code.
Why?
And then it, like the second time, it opens the door.
Okay.
So finally we get in and everything. I'm chatting with this lady to like, you know, being personable and stuff, being a polite human being. And she's like, oh, so you're flying out tomorrow too? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, what time's your flight? And it turned out both of our flights, we were within 30 minutes of each other.
Aww.
So she wound up giving me a whole bunch of the food that she hadn't opened that she had bought. Because she was going to get rid of it anyways, right? And then we wound up Ubering to the airport together the next morning.
Oh, that's so cute. And you got food out of it.
And I got food. I have a jar of peanut butter and a whole bunch of wheat thins and coffee creamer.
Oh my god, yes, wheat thins.
What a haul.
But yeah, what's a story that you guys have of just like a random act of kindness?
I think I shared mine already, so I'll let the
You helped
other
an old
two
man?
go. Yeah.
You helped an old man.
I did. I picked him up off the floor.
Mine isn't as valiant as DM's, but
Any
I've
good
always-
deed is good.
Yeah, so I live in Canada. So Canada's pretty, or I live in like Toronto specifically. So we're very multicultural here. A little bit of like everybody you can see in like a city, different like city pockets and whatever. So the place where I used to live have a lot of Asian people. So I was at the grocery store. I was grocery shopping with my parents. And then I saw this old lady. We were at the checkout already, and I could tell that I think the grocery store was Western because there was a language a language barrier. So I think it was like a Western grocery store, but the lady was Chinese. So she was already the one in front of us, so she was almost done checking out. But I think there was like a disparity between maybe the amount of money, or there was some kind of misunderstanding, and she refused to leave. And she was trying to say that there's something wrong with like this bill or something. So I heard her being flustered, and she was speaking in Mandarin, and clearly the clerk doesn't speak Mandarin.
Mhm.
So I can tell that she was really struggling. And I saw this whole time, and then I was like, I wanted to ask my mom if I can help. I was maybe like high school, maybe like early uni, something like that. And then I asked my mom if I can help, and then my mom like is just like, no, just keep her head down. You don't worry about it. And then we were about to like leave because the lady refused to leave herself. We were like done
Mhm.
checking out our stuff, and then she was still like just still talking about it, and then she was just like, and you can tell that she's really frustrated. Oh my god, why can't you understand me? Like she's saying this in Mandarin. And then I was just like, no, I can't look at this anymore. Like I gotta
Yeah.
help. Like I can't just look at it and then just ignore it now because I'm just
Yeah.
looking at her for the last like 15 minutes. Like it's starting to kill me on the inside.
Yeah.
I was just like, Mom, it's okay. Go pack the car. I will be right out. And then she's like, no. I'm like, no, I gotta do this right now. This is my calling. I was made for this. So that I helped her translate. I figured out what was wrong. I don't remember the exact situation anymore, but
Mm.
and I just remember her just being like so thankful that she was like, oh my god, like thank you for like describing the situation for me. And then I think she gave me like an apple or something, like a
Oh.
fruit, like something that she
Aw.
bought. And then she was just like, thank you for helping. And I'm just like, no, you're welcome. Like you're totally fine. I can empathize. Because I had to immigrate here. I had to learn ESL. I had problems with language, so I can empathize very clearly like what she was feeling. So
Mm.
I was just like, oh, don't even worry about it, right? But she just looked so distraught. So it's not a thing like very big, but I just helped translate for an old lady, and she was very
Yeah.
happy in the end.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
like, okay, cool.
fantastic though.
It is kind of surprising, and I think I don't want to. This statement may be a very, very broad brush thing, but I've seen it a lot, especially on like videos that circulate throughout the internet. But it seems to be like a cultural thing almost, to like, even if you see an issue, like keep your head down. Like if it doesn't involve you, you don't get involved, sort of thing. And it's kind of sad because, I mean, I don't know why Mama Renee does this, but she loves to tell me stories, like horror stories of like things that happen on the streets of China.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And so she'll always
Oh,
say like,
no.
and
Yeah.
I mean, she's done this a couple of times. Like it's like her favorite hobby or something. But she'll like, I remember her telling me stories of like, for example, like I don't know if this was a famous singer or some sort of like Chinese idol, or if he was an actor. I can't remember, but he was a young man, and he was just like working himself to the bone. With whatever he was doing. Like I said, I'm not sure if he was like if he was like a music idol or an actor or whatever. But he had grown so sickly and weak that he collapsed in the middle of like on the sidewalk, like on a busy pedestrian street, and no one stopped to help him, and he died there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it wasn't just his story. Like there are plenty of other people that happens to, but like Giri said, like if it's, just keep your head down, sort of thing.
I think for China specifically, though, even when I go back to trying to visit grandparents and aunts and uncles and stuff, they still have that mindset where keep your head down. Because I think it's just because in China scamming and stuff is so prevalent that you just don't know if they're truly injured or they have some malicious intent behind their quote unquote like acting or whatever. So I guess I can kind of understand, but that's in China, right? We're in Canada, so
right, and it's like you're at a grocery store, you're in public, and it's an old lady. Like, what's she gonna scam you out of?
Yeah, so I'm just like, it's okay, right? Like, yeah, exactly. What's she gonna scam? Like a few pennies, or like, does she want me to pay for her groceries? Like, it's whatever, right? Like, it's just me offering a translation service. Like, it's not like meat off my body kind of thing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in defense, I guess, to that kind of like train of thought, it is very prevalent in China, unfortunately, to get scammed by these kind of people.
Which is really depressing in and
Yeah.
of itself. But
Yeah.
It's like a cultural difference of where you are, kind of thing.
And I'm sure like there's a similar mindset like on the streets of any bustling city, like in the streets of downtown New York or downtown Chicago, like because like you said, like scamming is prevalent and you meet all different kinds of people with different walks of life there. So, maybe it is I don't know what this person is about. Like maybe they're pretending, or maybe they're trying to scam or rob or something. So I guess I can understand, but like you said, in Canada, and especially in like a very safe place, I don't see why we can't stop to like help people.
Yeah, like, well,
Mhm.
especially like if it's a public place like a grocery store or something, and
Right.
it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, but I'm glad you helped that old lady. You made her day.
I hope so. I felt pretty good about myself.
Good, good.
good.
Something good.
That's why
Yerai.
philanthropy is
Good
such a good, or such a
Arigato.
big thing. Yeah, yeah. Kai.
There was the time. Oh yeah. When. So this was when Giri and Girliam came for the like convention,
Yeah.
Huh?
and we all went out for dinner together with like a bunch of other content creators and stuff.
Mhm.
And it was it was a fun evening. We were chit chatting this and that. It was great. And as we were all kind of just hanging out after dinner with we just went to grab
Oh,
bubble
I
tea
know
and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you were gonna think I was gonna talk about me paying for your dinner, right?
I was like, getting the bill. Like,
I got their bill for
no,
them.
I
No.
remember the yeah.
Yeah. No,
Why?
I got their bill for them, but that was just like a hospitality. But
Mm-mm.
we were just kind of chilling with drinks and stuff and like chit chatting. We were kind of like hanging out on like this little parquet on a street corner with like little benches and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And as we were chit chatting, there was like quite a large group of us. This lady came up to us and like kind of like tapped me on the arm and was just like, "Oh, I'm sorry for bothering you." Da da da. It's my first time in Canada, but I don't really know my way around. I'm trying to get to da 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 a certain place.
Oh, I
And
remember the story. Yes.
I'm like, oh, yeah. The only place I know with that name is like 2 hours away.
Oh my goodness.
And she's like, I heard that a bus here can take me there. I'm like, I don't think so. So I actually had to go like look it up because I wasn't that familiar either. Like she was trying to get quite far away. There was a certain bus on that street corner that could take her to another transfer point where she would then have to take another bus there. But at
Ooh.
that point, it was like 10. It was
It
like
was late.
Yeah,
It was like
10
11 p.m.
10,
It was like
11.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
and the next bus was like 11:30.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So I kind of tried to tell her that. I was like, "Oh, okay, so here's the thing. You could stay here and wait until about 11:30
Mm.
and there will be a bus here, number 40 whatever, number 42 let's say. It will take you to this other place and then you can go from there, take a transfer, da 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 da. But the next bus here is 11:30, meaning you'll probably get to the transfer point after midnight. And from there, you'll have one bus left to catch. Like it's literally the last bus of the night for you to get to where you need to be.
Mhm.
Or it's going to cost a bit more. I would recommend taking an Uber.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
hour, I can see that you're, a lady in a foreign place by herself in the middle of the night. It's downtown. It's well lit. There's a lot of people around, kind of thing. But still,
Mhm.
and she thought about it for a bit. She looked around, and then she looked up the Uber price. She kind of like didn't look comfortable with it, and she said, "I think I'll just wait for the bus." Was
Ugh.
what she said. And the group we were with was already kind of ready to call it a night. Everyone's about to go their
Yeah.
separate ways and all that.
Yeah.
And all that. But I was also the ride for some people. Actually, quite a large portion of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I kind of had to stall. And I felt like a really shitty host because they were all coming to visit. Like there was a lot of people coming to visit from out of the country. So like I'm one of the locals there, so I was like kind of playing host.
Mm.
And I felt really bad because I kind of like had to stall them and like keep them entertained. I'm like, oh, I'm being a shitty host.
No,
I'm
I don't
keeping
think
them
any
out
of
late.
no. Wait a minute. You might have felt that way, but you turn and you're like, "Hey, is it okay if we wait here for her?" And all of us were like, "Yeah, we have bubble tea and we're chatting anyways."
I know, but I felt really bad keeping everyone there because I was the
No,
one
we
driving.
wanted to wait.
We
were not gonna
wanted
leave
to
a
chill.
girl
We
there
were,
by herself.
we were just like, we're gonna just wait here, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we ended up like there was maybe about 10 feet between her bus stop and where we were hanging out. So we just kind of like stuck around to keep an eye on her, like until her bus showed up. And then when it came, like I went on the bus to ask the bus driver, hey, do you go to this transfer point? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, when you get there, can you point her out to the bus she needs to take to get to blah, 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 because she doesn't know her way around. And we got all that sorted before I dropped everyone off home.
Oh, that's
And it was nice because when she finally found the bus and she was about to leave, we all clapped because we were just so happy that she could actually go home. We were just like, "Yay! Get home safe!"
Go
And she was just
home!
like, and she looked really happy that we
Yeah,
probably,
she was like
stayed for her
climbing up
kind of thing.
the she was
And
climbing up the
just like,
steps.
"Oh, thank you." And we're like, "You get to go home. We're so happy for you."
Yeah.
People were applauding. She turned and
Yeah.
waved at us, and everyone on the bus was
We
just
were-
like,
we
"What's
were like
going
clapping
on
our
here?"
hands. We were like, "We're
Yeah.
so happy for you." Get home, girl. Get home.
Yeah, because like a girl by herself, first time like in the area,
Yeah.
stranded with like, come on, we were just,
Like, I
we were like,
just-
we're just gonna stay here and help her out.
Yeah.
I did not feel comfortable leaving her alone,
Of
but at the same
course.
time,
Yeah.
I like personally, I felt really bad making everyone stay later than we had
Yeah,
planned.
but we're all good
Yeah, we
people,
were
so we were all just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a group good effort. Everyone did a good deed for this lost
Yay!
lady.
Well,
Um,
it just goes to show, like, no matter how small, you know, if you do something for someone, it makes you feel good, and it makes
Mhm.
them feel good.
mm-hmm,
You know, like it fills a little hole in your heart, and you feel like you can face another day.
I like how we turned that around from kitchen injuries to now really wholesome and
Wholesome and good.
we had to
bringing each
counterbalance.
other up content.
And it was a really I found it very amusing cultural difference we found when it during the dinner thing, like paying for dinner.
Yeah.
Because like
Oh, God.
having grown up in an Asian community, having grown up in an
Yes.
Asian household, it's always like it's been drilled into me to be a good
It would have
host
been,
and to like
rude if we didn't
Exactly.
get the bill. Yeah.
to like
that was my first experience with that, because like normally that's not how it works with like my family's on the more European side, and
Mhm.
like if it's usually the grandparents. If you're with your grandparents, the grandparents will like be the ones that will buy the meal, because
Mhm.
they're the like,
Grandparents buy it.
patriarchs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're,
I
like,
was
the
just
whole
about to be like,
family
what?
side,
You
right?
make grandma, grandpa pay?
Asian yeah, for Asian
No,
culture,
because
it
it's
gets younger and younger. Like the younger.
No, because it's like it's their pride in they're
Oh, I
like, we
see.
did this, right? Like you're all here because we did this,
Oh,
right?
Okay.
shoot.
So it's more like a pride thing is like we're caring for our offspring kind of thing.
Oh, oops.
like for us, it's kind of like we want to show that we have hospitality, that we're a good host, kind of thing.
Or we're caring
Like,
for our elders.
you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took the effort to come from a foreign country to
Yeah.
visit us. The least I could do is pay for a meal, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't consider that as a good deed. I thought that was like par for the
Which is
course.
pretty standard. Yeah.
That was like I was
Luna was just like, oh my god.
yeah, I was ready to like
this is
fight.
pretty normal.
I kept on being like, why does this keep happening?
Yeah, I was just more
I kept
upset that
wanting to
Kai got
pay.
to her first, but I
What
wasn't
was-
upset that Kai got the bill. I was just like, okay, yeah, he's just being Chinese, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
It
like,
was-
what is happening?
I mean, I thought I would have to fight against like maybe Giri or like Aqua and all that. You guys made it super easy.
Oh, I'm not my mom. My mom will literally throw hands. Like I'm saying literally, she has shoved people before.
Oh my
She will,
god.
like, give me that bill. She will grab him by the arm and she was just like, no, it's mine. And then she pushed her. Like obviously not to the point, because they're still friends at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Not to the
Oh,
ground.
jeez.
But they get physical. Like they're like MMA for the bill. Okay. And
my
all
God.
the aunties are just like, it's
Yep.
like. And then the funny thing is, the aunties always force their respective husbands to fight for the bill.
Yes.
But the husbands are just like, oh yeah, I'm fighting. Oh,
Yeah, they're like,
just,
oh,
just,
oh,
here, give it
It's
to me."
always the same. There's a formula to
Him
it.
on being motivated.
Yeah, and it's not because like they don't want to pay the bill. It's just like the men are not gonna start like fighting for it, right? And all
Right,
the-
they don't want to cause a scene.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were like, it's mine, but all the wives are like, get it, husband, get the bill from her
Yeah.
hand. And she's just like, what do you want me to do? Push her? Like,
Yes, push him.
There was
So my mom gets like super handsy. Like she will fight you for it. Like she's scary. Like, I don't like.
Oh.
I will still be polite and get the bill because that's the way that it's done. But I'm not gonna like start like shoving Kai right or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, you take one, I take one, whatever.
Give him a
It's
swirly
fine.
and you're like, give me the bill.
We can still be like cordial about this. I'm not gonna give you like a suplex or anything.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, DM, because I had to take my family member to the hospital on Wednesday. They're fine. They just went in for a
Okay,
routine
good.
scan. But their scan came out really, really good. And
Yay.
so we met up with that family member's mom, and then to celebrate, we went out to eat afterwards. So when we had finished our meal and we were done like packing the leftovers, our waitress walked by and I just pulled her aside really quick and I was like, give me the bill. Yeah, I'll be paying for this today. So she brings the bill and I take it and I give her my card, and my family member's mom was like, why, like, give me the bill. And I was like, no. She was like, but I wanted to pay for it. And I was like, but why? I'm paying for it. And I thought I was being polite by being like, you know, of course I'm not gonna make you pay. Like, you're his parent. Like, you know, you've been stressed out about this too. Like, we just got some great news. Like, let me handle it. It's okay. And then like Giri said, like, you know, the elder isn't supposed to pay. It's the younger generation. But afterwards, my family member sort of like talked to me aside and was just like, why are you so stubborn? Why did you grab the bill? And I was like, well, I thought I was being polite. Like, was I offensive in any way? And they're like, yeah, well, they might see it as offensive because they wanted to pay for the bill. And they sort of like described it sort of like in the same way where it was like, you know, I'm the older person, like I'm supposed to be like providing for, and especially since like, you know, it was his mother, so you probably wanted to pay the bill for her son. You know what I mean? Yeah, like to celebrate and stuff. And I was like, oh,
it could also be like if it's a weird pride thing as well, because if somebody pays the bill for you, then it's kind of like them being like, oh, because you can't pay for it.
Oh my God, I would have never thought about it that way. Like, to me, it's
really
always
like it's like a charity.
Yeah,
oh my
we don't
goodness,
usually
no.
right? Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that from like a Western side perspective thing. Like, you can actually make people mad if you pay for their stuff.
I think that might have been what happened.
It's like you're making them a charity case, essentially.
Oof. Yeah, that was not.
Yeah.
So there was a culture clash right there.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
for me, because I've been like I lived in Japan and stuff, and I've like studied on things when friends are jumping to take the bill and stuff. I was like, this is probably a culture difference thing, and I'm just going to enjoy this. And if I can, I'll snipe the bill, but I don't think I'll be able to because they seem very experienced.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm not diving in that. No.
You know, it's just like, wait, what? It's taken already.
And I just think Giri would be like,
No.
And I was
That
like,
wasn't DM. That was you guys made it so easy too, because it was like I kept thinking like, okay, how am I gonna go about this? I'm gonna be all sneaky about it. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna use the bathroom, and then go like settle the bill or whatever.
You know what it is? I think there's a generational gap as well. So we both know. So Kai and I, we both know like how to be like the quote unquote Chinese hospitality. But I'm
Yep.
not as crazy as my mom. Like, because I see how crazy she gets, and I don't want to be like that. So
Right.
I will be polite, but I'm not gonna pull anyone's hair out, right? So
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
like if I see it, I will fight for it. But if I literally don't know or I didn't see it, then I'm just like, okay, you know, you got it. Next time, I'll just try harder to get it the next time, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I think I paid for 2 meals both times. Giri was on her phone. And then we were like done, we were wrapped up, we were packed up, and it was
Not
just like,
to be
okay,
like
let's go. And both times, you just like whipped your head at me. I was like, wait, but we haven't paid yet. We can't walk out. I'm like, no, we're good. We can go.
It's a dine and
looked
dash,
so
don't you know?
panicked. You're like, what? But we haven't paid yet. What are you saying? And oh my God, Aqua, Aqua really needs to work on situational awareness, I feel like.
Oh no.
Because there was that one dinner we had after karaoke
Mm-hmm.
where I was sat next to Aqua.
Mm-hmm.
So Aqua was on my right. I was at the
Mhm.
end of the table. The waitress coming up to us with the bill stood on Aqua's right. So
Mhm.
Aqua was sandwiched between me and the waitress,
Mhm.
and was
Mhm.
talking about the bill, and we are like, oh, well, like, how do you want to settle the bill? Or like, oh, split bills. But then actually what she said was, oh, you're a party of 8. We can only
Mhm.
split it up to 4 ways.
Mhm.
Because I had I didn't intend to
God.
pay for that meal either. It was like just going to be a split thing. But then I was like, oh, how are we going to, 'cause some people ordered this, some people, and then I'm just like, you know what, forget it, I'll just pay for it. It's fine. I was
Mhm.
saying that like we were talking past Aqua at each other. I was like kind of talking over Aqua's head, and Aqua's just kind of like looking at the two of us, and then just kind of like looked back at their plate and kind of like, I don't think Aqua was processing what was going on, because then she reached around Aqua with the little like the card machine, and then I reached around Aqua to like, tap the card, and then I
Yeah.
paid, and they got a receipt, and then it was like, okay, I think we're all settled. Let's go for dessert. Let's go for like ice cream or whatever. So we all get out, and Aqua did the exact same thing. It was like, wait, but we didn't pay yet. I'm like, what?
You gotta.
Probably just like
in front of you.
I had a really long week that week. I'm saying I took him around,
Very likely just zoned out completely.
Mhm.
I was just like, what do you think I was just doing just now?
Nothing
It
important.
was really funny to me.
Yeah.
But DM making a big deal about it was like, that was like a cultural difference to me, because I didn't see it as like a good deed. I thought it was like the normal thing to do.
Right. That's
kind of thing.
just what you do.
Right. So I was
Yeah.
surprised when she was all like, "Oh, but why?" I was like,
Because that's what we do.
didn't exactly, like it never crossed my mind like the other cultural ways of thinking about it. How like,
Mhm.
oh, taking it could be offensive to some people, or etc.
I
kind
think
of
it
thing.
depends on who you're eating with, though. Like, if it's not like another Asian person, then maybe I will be more observant and going like, okay, what's
It,
are we doing like
it
AA
usually
style
has
or
to, it has to deal with like the self-sufficiency and independence.
Mm.
Because if somebody else pays for you without like without like clarification on it, then it is kind of like that person's infringing on your independence, and sometimes the interpretation is that, oh, it's because you can't take care of yourself.
Or it becomes like a you owe me now.
Yeah, or
sort of
you owe
thing.
me, or that kind of thing.
Or like a
So
power move.
yeah.
Yeah, for me it was very much like, thanks for coming to visit.
Yeah, we're
Here,
just
let me
happy
get
that
that.
you're
Yeah,
here.
which I
Exactly.
was just like, I think this is what this is because of
Yeah.
that. So it's just it's kind of that like, everybody have a good time because I'm taking care of this for like, because like I'm hosting kind of thing, versus a why would you do that? You know that I can afford my own meals.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
for us,
Right.
to split the bill is legit like rude, because it's just like, oh, why are you so selfish and splitting the bill kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
you just want to pay for your own stuff. You don't want to take care of me.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how we think as like an Asian person. I
Which
guess.
which is like, it's one of those examples of something that like you don't realize it most of the time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. People are weird.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's shocking, like, just how different like cultures can make even just a dining experience. And it is like what DM said, like it comes down to the Eastern versus Western mentality of like individualism versus community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So whereas like I think the Eastern tradition is often like thinking about other people constantly to a point where it's just exhausting.
Mhm.
Right? And
Mhm.
sometimes it can be an inconvenience to yourself
Mhm.
to like always think about what other people think.
Mhm.
But whereas like the Western mentality is more like, I'm independent, like I take care of myself, we take care of ourselves sort of thing. We're
Mhm.
capable, we're, you know, we're self-sufficient and things like that. So it's crazy how that affects like everything, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why I think like the lady at the bus stop would have been my example of like a good deed, as opposed.
Yeah. No, that was a good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good deed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just grabbing the bill. But
You
Exactly.
did good. You
Yeah.
did good, son.
We all did. We all did, son.
Kaijin,
Son.
are you winning, son?
Are y'all winning, son?
You are.
It was a fun
winning,
night. I really
son.
liked that. It was,
Yeah.
especially since I hadn't gone out in a while before that. So
Yeah.
it was big funs having a meetup.
All right, so it's
Mhm.
at this point in the podcast, it is the good old bait and switch where we brought ourselves down with kitchen injuries, brought ourselves up with good wholesome stories, and we're bringing it right back down again.
Let's go!
Oh, no.
Yeah, let's go. So we sort of touched on this with almost every topic already today, but Giri, since you are a guest on the podcast, I have been sprinkling in a little bit of spooks as our countdown to Halloween. So
Okay.
every week I've sort of come up with some sort of different spooky topic to discuss.
Okay.
Today's topic is about horror in film.
Okay.
All right. So so I first want to start by just getting a little sampling from each of you of like, what is it when you watch something scary, or even in everyday life, what are you afraid of? Like, so I don't want to be like, oh, I'm afraid of spiders, right? Like that's, but like something that like disturbs you deeply. And I know Kai's answer already.
I have way more answers than you would imagine.
Oh, all right. Well, let's go down the road then.
Wait,
Girl
Kai go first.
DM, or Kai can go first too.
Did I go first?
I can go first.
Yeah,
Yeah. The thing that usually like freaks me out, it's not so much if it's like a what I perceive as a fictional situation. So like I don't have issues with those. Like, oh, it's Freddy, he's gonna get you. It's like he's the dream boogeyman. That's what he is. Like, I'm not gonna have issues with that one. I'll watch it and I'll jump from the jump scares and stuff and be like, ooh, gory. But the ones that usually freak me out is ones that deal with like stalking or the person getting inside of their home without them realizing. Like, or like that kind of one. That's the one that freaks me out.
So like when a stranger calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was spooky. Giri?
For me, because I'm such a puss, like everything scares me. I legit like I'm so squirmy, and I think it's because I like to self-insert when I watch like movies or play games or whatever. So I always like, not that I'm intentionally trying to imagine myself in the situation, but I can't help feeling like I'm in the situation. So any kind of horror, whether it's like I could be playing Amnesia, I could be like one of those games where like those like stalker kinds, or I could be watching the like Saw or some kind of paranormal activity. Like any situation will just make me scared. I think it's like the unknown, and also like the little cliffhanging, like the music and everything. Like everything is like really tense, and like I just can't help but feel like I'm in that moment, and I'm just like, it's coming, when's it coming? You know. So I think, and also like the unsettling parts of when it's like kind of calm, but it's kind of more atmospheric than just like in your face horror. I think like any kind just gets me. That's why I like I would love to do like those like haunted Halloween like amusement park thingies with like friends and stuff, but I don't think I would be able to do it. I will literally poo in my pantaloons because I just can't stand being like chased. Like I know it's a human, I know he's acting, but I will think it's a ghost following me, and I will cry and I will run, I will scream.
No, that's so true though. I hate being
fun.
chased. Yeah. No,
I'm just too jittery in general, like when it comes to like horror stuff.
So it's a little bit of everything. It's the buildup of tension and anything that comes after that.
Yeah.
All right, Kai, your list.
I don't do well with gore. Specifically, like the whole bloody, slimy, wet-looking aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like Freddy, like the one example, Freddy versus Jason. Which one was which? Jason Voorhees was the one with the mask, right?
Yeah, Jason has the mask. He has the thingies.
Yeah, like I am significantly more uncomfortable looking at Freddy than I am Jason because of the way the skin is all, you know. It's got like those to it,
and like it's
not
that
like texture
normal.
I don't like the word texture there, but
what?
yeah,
you don't like the meatloaf.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like big guy with a mask and a machete. I'm like, okay, but then that guy just like, it's not his claws I'm scared of, it's the way his face looks.
You don't like the hamburger meat?
You are using the worst descriptions.
Because there was one, I remember when, I've told this story multiple times before, but when Lord of the Rings, like the movies, came out in theaters here, when I was like in grade school,
Yeah.
they had like, they always have those little magazines that they give out for free
Yes.
at like theaters,
Yeah.
like the program booklets. And in one of them was like a big double page spread of like the Lord of the Rings movies. And it was just like big spread of like the orcs. And there was like one really close-up shot of like an orc's face. I could not touch that magazine. Like, I know in my mind I could understand that it's just glossy paper because it's a magazine. But I thought that if I touched it, I would be feeling its wet, slimy face.
That's fair.
And the same thing happened recently with the game that came out, Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah.
Elden Ring's kind of like
Build with
Dark
characters like that.
Souls-ish. A lot of the bosses kind of grow in size. They start off kind of humanoid looking, and then they'll become like big, bulbous, pussy, like, you know, these squirty, wet, slick, gross masses of flesh.
Yeah, and they make squishy noises.
And I, trying to be a supportive friend, watched everyone play it. I watched DM play it, I watched Salem play it, and I think it was during one of Salem's playthroughs I threw up in my mouth.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Just sitting
You
in my
baby
room, like,
barfed?
yeah, like I had DM on one monitor, I had Salem on another monitor. I was like watching them play. I couldn't say anything. I wasn't in the mood to be funny. I wasn't in the mood to make like snide little comments. So I was just kind of lurking in your chats,
Oh god.
and I just retched.
Oh god.
Oh.
That's so
Poor
sad.
And like also the whole what's that one horror movie where the lady kind of like crawls with her elbows jutted out, kind of.
The
Oh.
Exorcist?
Exorcist?
I'm not sure, but that kind of sudden like kind of movement,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly susceptible to horror, like jump scares I can't do, creepy stuff I
Mhm.
can't do, bugs that like. I hate the fact that I have to play a horror game this month for charity.
Fine.
I was telling like my chat when I came back from TwitchCon because the night before we all had to for the most of us we all had to leave TwitchCon was Tuesday morning, and the last day that most of the group were together was Monday night, and everyone decided to watch a horror movie, and I was like, yeah, woo, let's go, and we decided to watch the movie called Smile.
Oh
it's
my
more of, like, a
God.
jump scare, not super gory, but you know, like the blood and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
that you would expect. It's not really like ghost paranormal
Mhm.
However, I was sitting beside Twinny, Twin Tails,
Oh yeah.
and then she looked like she knew that I was scared. I was like holding my arms like in front of my hands, and I'm like peeking through my fingers and
Aw.
everything. And she knew that I was scared. She was like, "Gary, do you want to hold my hand?" I'm like, "Are you sure? Do you mind?" And I said, "Yeah, it'll be fine." So I hold her hand, right, and then I'm watching the movie. And then there was like a tense moment where it's just like the movie is like amplifying. Sorry, the music is amplifying, but the jump scare isn't out yet. And then I'm just like gripping it. Right? I'm getting ready, and I have like both our hands, like her hand in my hand, and I'm trying to like block my view. And suddenly the jump scare happened. I screamed, and I can hear one person, so a part of our group, but they were sitting way down the line. I could hear them like peeking out and going like, "Who screamed?" And I was just like, "No, sorry, it's me." And I was screaming, and then I yanked Twinny's hand in front of my face so I can block the ghost from attacking my face. And then like after the jump scares finished, I still had this gorilla grip on her poor tiny little hands, and I was just watching the video, and all I hear from Twinny's side was just like, "Gary, you're hurting my hand a little." Like, she was so quiet. She was like, "Gilly, you're hurting my hand just a tiny bit." And I was like, "Oh my god, I am so sorry." Like, I felt one knuckle pop. That's how hard I gripped my hand, and like because I just reacted to the jump scare, I just like swung my hand with her hand in mine over my face. I felt like one knuckle pop. He's like, "Kiwi, please, just a little bit." I'm so sorry. And then I was like massaging her hand, and she legit just started, like when your hands are sore, you start like making a fist and opening it up, making a fist, opening up. She was like exercising her fingers because that's how like devoid of like blood and like how tight I was holding it. And I felt so bad. And that was her right hand. That was her dominant rigging drawing hand. And I'm just like,
no.
Oh my gosh, she's never gonna rig for the rest of her life. I felt so bad. And then, but afterwards, she's like, "Do you want to hold my hand again? Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Sure?" And she's like, "No, I'll be okay. I'll be brave. I'll be okay." And I'm like, "Thank you, Sydney.
I'll be brave.
Thank you. I appreciate this so much."
Oh my
But I was
goodness.
careful not to yank it as much. But yeah, it was a very tense movie for me.
Oh, for sure.
And poor Twinnie's hands. She has no hands now. I'm so sorry.
Oh gosh.
She has retired.
She has no hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the reason why she hasn't started streaming yet since TwitchCon, because she has no hands. I'm sorry.
You just removed it.
Eviscerated it in the theater.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Kai?
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm pretty similar to Giri in that, like, anything will make me, like, nervous, right? And I think because I try to be situationally aware, right? So, like, in one of those movies that sort of, like, plays off that, that does, like, it gets me in, like, hyper-vigilant mode, and then I'm looking for everything, but I know, like, if that's the case, I'm gonna notice stuff. And noticing stuff that's supposed to be, like, hidden or spooky or, like, things that, like, for example, if you guys have ever seen the movie The Woman in Black, starring Daniel Radcliffe.
I have not.
It was based off of a book that became a play, like a stage play for a while, like a good many years. And I think it was like fairly successful, and then they turned it into the movie. So they had The Woman in Black, and they actually came out with a sequel. Don't watch the sequel. But the first one, so it's about this young lawyer who had recently lost his wife. And so it's just him and his very young son, and he's just trying to get over the grief of losing his wife, while still trying to provide for his son. So he gets this job to go to this little countryside village, because this like takes place in like Sherlock Holmes era, essentially.
Okay.
So he gets a job to go out into this like little like off the beaten track village, and go through the papers of the woman who had recently passed away. And it's like this big mansion that you can only get there at low tide. So he's in this woman's house going through all of her papers, and in one scene you see him working, and like even though like the camera work is that like really the only person that's in focus is like the main character, right? Like the person that you're supposed to be paying attention with. So the background and the further back you go is still a little bit blurry, and there's no music, just the ticking of a grandfather clock. But then in the back you see like a dark figure sort of like come in very like way in the back, and then it starts slowly getting closer and closer. And I just remember that it just makes my skin crawl, and it makes my heart beat super fast, because like how the camera work is set up, you're not really supposed to notice the background is blurry or blurry-ish. So really, you like if there was more going on in the scene, like you would be focusing on Daniel Radcliffe. But because like his character is just like leaning down writing, so he's not physically doing a lot, so your eyes just sort of wander and you move to the next thing that's moving, right? Because that's how that works, is like if something's like still not moving, you don't notice it as much, but when things start to move is when it catches your eye, right? And so this figure starts moving, and it's just the scariest thing, and I actually really appreciate that, because it's not a jump scare. Like it really does like work off of like what evolutionarily you would be akin to noticing and really being afraid. So things like that. I'm not going to go in too much further, because I want to get into like the meat and potatoes of the topic, which, like I said, is horror in film, right? So there were quite a few articles that I could have looked at. There was one in particular that I'm regretting that I didn't read first. It was called, it's like a umwblogs.org. It's called The Historical Evolution of Fear and Scare Tactics. And so that one goes through like the early horror in the 20s, the Hitchcock era, psycho killers. So it goes from the 20s to the 90s. And it talks about like how horror was used in films and things like that. And I'm remiss that I didn't get a chance to like actually focus on that one. This one's a little bit more brief. This one is from an Insider article called 7 Tricks Horror Movies Use to Scare You. They essentially talk about things like, so like Giri mentioned, she gets scared even when there's like certain spooky sounds going on, right? Like, like have you ever tried to watch a horror film but it's on mute? It's significantly less scary because like the ambiance and like, the sounds that they use and the music that they have also heightens the experience, right? So there's actually something that they use. So you think about like Hitchcock's Psycho, like the like that yeah, exactly. So that's like the shrill violins is a scary pitch, but there's also something else that they use in movies, which is a very low frequency. Like a low rumble. And so they say in this article, the human ear is best at registering sounds above the frequency of 20 hertz. Anything below that is called infrasound. So it says horror movies like Paranormal Activity use sounds right around that 20 hertz threshold called sub-bass sounds. It's these deep rumblings that ratchet up the tension in key moments. According to some studies, we also often feel them experiencing the sound waves in our bodies as vibration. People subjected to infrasound and some sub-bass sounds reported feelings of discomfort, even chills, or worse, like when director Gaspar Noé used non-stop sub-bass or bass sounds through the first 30 minutes of his movie Irreversible. And the BBC apparently reported that 20 people at the Cannes, C-A-N-N-E-S, film festival fainted during the film and needed medical attention.
Oh no.
Wow.
Right?
Goodness.
So even just it's just playing off of these things, and these aren't like super noticeable things. Like you might hear that low rumble, but like logically you would think that's like, oh well, I shouldn't be scared of a low rumble, right? But that, I think, paired with everything else just like really, really freaks you out. Something that they also mentioned was inconsistency in film release. Right? So I don't know how many people actually use this one, but I'm just going to read what they have here. So this Insider article is basically like a beat per beat or beat for beat, I don't know how to say that, of like an actual video that they put together. So this one's just like a transcript of what's spoken in this video. So this isn't actually like an article with or written as a interview. The video itself is the interview, and then they just like wrote it out in a transcript. So like they show clips in certain of certain films and then discuss that clip. So for example, they show a clip from The Exorcist, right? And it says, did you catch that? So, you know, of course you're not going to see it because I'm talking about it. We're not watching it. But it says this white face is one of several hidden shots of the demon in The Exorcist. They are often referred to as subliminal images, which isn't really accurate since we are able to consciously perceive them. But it says, but each image only lasts about 1/8 of a second on screen, less than a blink of an eye. Research shows that people presented with threatening images, even briefly, become faster at identifying additional threats. The state of hypervigilance is right where horror movies want you. Right? So, at the end of Psycho, director Alfred Hitchcock placed this image of Mrs. Bates' skull over Norman Bates' face, but didn't include this detail in all prints of the movie. So, in theaters, you might have seen the skull in one screening and not the next.
That's messed up.
Oh,
Yes, so they actually like make you question your sanity because you're like, oh my god, I swear I remember seeing this, or oh my god, I don't remember seeing this the last time. And Hitchcock's not the only person who's done this. The American remake of The Ring played a similar trick by inserting shots from the cursed videotape as flash frames in different scenes of the movie, but varying the frames in different versions of the film. These fleeting images, and more generally, the popular horror movie style of quick cutting between shots, work to disorient you and make you question your own perception. So, literally being like, I either saw this for a brief second, or, hey, even though I saw these flashes for a moment, these flashes are different this time. What's going on? Sort of, you know what I mean? Like, it really is. And apparently they also do things in terms of, like, film orientation. Like, have you heard of, like, the thirds ratio or something like that? Like, if you
photography, yes, not in horror though.
Right, in horror they actually break all the rules, but in photography and in standard film, you have like your subject in, I think it's 1/3, or it's like the smaller ratio of the image, and then you have more like open space on the rest of it. Is that my understanding? Am I explaining that right, Giri?
Yeah, so like you always want to have things in like kind of like the middle third, or you want to have it divided where it's like you feel like the negative space and the focus point is occupying 2/3 versus 1/3. So like the focus is 1/3, and then the negative space is like 2/3 of the whole canvas kind of thing.
Yes, and it's great that you mentioned negative space, because that's exactly what this is all talking about. So it says negative space, anything in the frame that's not the subject that we're focusing on. So it says movies traditionally go for a harmonious balance of positive and negative space. The subject is placed at the rule of thirds lines. There's more space in the direction of the subject's facing, allowing what's called lead room. So horror movies deliberately violate those rules to make audiences squirm. Sometimes they'll put the subject almost on the edge of that frame line, so the blank space overwhelms the frame, or they'll leave more empty space behind the subject, which makes us wonder if something's going to sneak up on them. Right? So, like, they explain, or they use as an example a scene from The Nun. Or actually the opposite. So it says, if too much empty space freaks us out, what happens when the shot has almost no space at all? So it says it can actually amp up the fear even more, especially in climactic scenes. In a scene from The Nun, we see a shot of Valak rise up from the water, then go to a close-up of the protagonist looking on in horror. By the time we cut to a wide shot again, Valak's now fully out of the water, towering over Irene, who I suppose is the main character in that scene. This is a common pattern in horror movies. They'll show you the monster approaching or coming into view, then cut to a tight close-up of the protagonist reacting. It's terrifying because we know the monster's advancing or attacking, but we're not allowed to see it happening. We're only witnessing it secondhand through the protagonist's response. More generally, tight shots on the protagonist make it so you can't see what's going on, like in the scene from Psycho. So there's a scene where Detective Arbogast goes up the stairs, and we can't see we can't see what danger he might be walking into. That leaves us feeling as helpless and on edge as he is. Right? So it's almost this, what do they call that? There's situational irony, and then there's oh darn, I learned this in literature class in high school, but there's essentially, like, I think situational irony is like when the reader knows something that the characters in that story don't. So when they say like, oh yeah, well, you know, don't worry, everything will work out in the end, but you already know that things aren't going to work out, because in the very beginning of the story they say everybody died or something. Sort of like in Romeo and Juliet. Like, you know, in Romeo and Juliet, like even in the intro, they say that Romeo and Juliet die, right? They're star-crossed lovers, they fall in love, things don't work out, and they die. Like, they tell you that in the beginning. And then the whole story is like, oh, well, you know, I'll meet up with Romeo, or I'll meet up with Juliet, and we'll run away together, we'll get married together, or whatever that is. I read Romeo and Juliet a long time, I don't care enough about the story. But the whole point of it is that, like, you actually know what the outcome is, and it's not as positive as they think. So it's sort of like that, where if a character's walking into a dangerous situation, we know that it's dangerous. They might have an inkling that it's dangerous, and that whole time you're sitting there going, "No, don't do it! You fool! Turn around!" You know what I mean? Like you're on edge because you know it's not going to be a positive outcome. So they feed off of like all of these sort of human reactions and breaking rules and regular film and photography and things that we've grown used to. And hypervigilance and things like that. So I obviously didn't list 7 things, but I think that's like that's enough food for thought. But now the next time you watch a scary movie, those can all be things that you sort of watch out for. Because I think like, especially in American or Western horror movies, like they use the jump scare thing too often.
Yeah, they rely really heavily on it sometimes. I mean,
Right,
it still works for me, don't get me wrong.
Well, I think
once you're like accustomed to it, then it's that's when it starts to be like, okay, well, this is like same. It's kind of like when you watch a K-drama the first couple of times and you're just like caught by the twist of, oh my god, this guy, he's actually been like, oh
He's
no,
lying this whole time he was the baddie. Oh my
he was
God,
the rich man of some
lying to her.
CEO. Rich son of a CEO.
Yeah, he was, oh my god, he's the son of the CEO, and then you get to like the 5th one and you're like, oh, he's the son of the CEO. Okay, well, he was pretending to be like he was poor, and now he's gonna do the big reveal, and she's gonna be like, oh, I don't know you anymore, and they're gonna fight for a bit, and then they're gonna kiss in the final episode.
Yeah, and money's not what matters.
Okay, which horror movies go through the same thing.
Yes.
The movie Pacific Rim, the one with the giant robots.
Yeah.
That movie was completely ruined for me because of tropes. Like I called that movie beat for beat as I was watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, Giri, where'd you go?
Oh,
my model morphed. Whoops.
You just like stood up on the table. You're like, I'm leaving.
can I talk about the movie?
It's like enough about this horror. I'm gone. I'm tired. Enough of
Like
this.
it's been a number of years. I can talk about the movie, right? Like
I
Pacific
think
Rim?
so.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
so.
like the opening scene is like, oh, they build a wall. I'm like, the wall's not gonna work. And then they introduce the pilots. Oh, they're twins. One's gonna die. And then they introduce like all these other. It's like literally beat for beat. I'm like, and this is where the next one jumps out, and then the next monster jumps out. My friends hated me watching that movie with them.
Because you were the worst. You were just calling out everything and hating it all.
Oh no.
It was so like by the books. It was so formulaic.
There's something about Pacific Rim that I really enjoyed. Like, I actually really liked Pacific Rim, and I didn't think I would.
When I went in to watch that movie, I was like, I know exactly what kind of movie this is, and that is exactly where my expectations are at. So it was great for me. I was not like expecting anything. A lot of people, I think, go into movies expecting something revolutionary to happen. To be fair, there are like movies that you come out and you're like, wow, my future is changed now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's if you go in with the expectation of I'm going to be entertained, then most of the time the movies turn out pretty good.
It's just like for me, it felt super telegraphed. Like I could see what they were setting up from a mile away. Like they do a little something that's meant to have a payoff like 20 minutes down the line, and like it was all. It felt like it was set up way too obviously.
And maybe they didn't care. You know what I mean?
Maybe,
there's something about that movie that just makes me think that maybe they didn't care too much about like reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, I don't think like Kai, the people that like to watch Dragon Ball, it's the same exact storyline every single time. But you're still going to go in there and enjoy it because you're like, I'm here. Like it's like I'm gonna put in this bag. It's chocolate chip cookies. I know exactly what these taste like. I like chocolate chip cookies. Then you're done with like chocolate chip for a bit, and then you get another bag, and you're like, "This is a bag of chocolate chip cookies."
Yeah, think about like reading fan fiction, and you like are looking for specific, like friends to lovers or like slow burn or something. You know what I mean? Like you know what you like, you know what you're gonna go in for, and it's still enjoyable.
Yeah, and I don't think it was trying to present itself as something not like that, because they were definitely embracing the tropes, which is why like if the directors came out being like, this is a revolutionary movie that you've never seen anything like this before, then I would be like, all right, sit down, I get it, okay, bud. But they didn't. They're just like, wee, giant robots fighting kaiju. It's like, yeah,
pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But I like I don't really watch the horror movies that often,
Mhm.
so I can't really relate. The only I think what was the last time? What was the last one we watched?
We watched Coraline.
Was that a horror movie though?
It's
Have
like
you watched
kids
Coraline?
horror.
It's spooky.
I watched it with you.
That's what I mean.
It's like a kids horror movie.
But
Okay.
it's surprisingly like it goes hard for a kids movie.
Mhm.
Like I think the last
I
horror
thought Coraline was
movie
terrifying.
I
It's
think
spooky.
was what was it, like Get Out Part 2 that we watched?
Oh my god, you watched the second Get Out?
I watched it with you.
I didn't watch Get Out.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
who did I watch it with?
Whoa, Kai out here. Oh, I don't watch horror movies that often. Kai out here watching horror movies. Oh, that was a horror movie?
Might have been.
I thought Jurassic
Oh,
Park back in the day was a horror movie.
was-
when
I thought so
was a
too.
It was with Nova.
Oh, okay.
You might not have been there that day for that.
Mm-mm.
But aside from that, like the last horror movie I watched, I think was like The Ring, like when I was in high school.
Yeah. It was a
And
grudge for me back in high
um,
school.
Yeah.
it's gonna sound a little bit out of character for me, I guess, because I don't I don't think I get angry very often on stream, do I?
so?
Depends on what game you're playing.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get angry here?
No, but my coping mechanism for horror movies is to get aggressively, like super aggressive.
Aggressively, super aggressive.
Yeah, sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, but like I yell a lot when I watch scary movies.
Mhm.
Like, I'm constantly yelling at the screen. I'm constantly yelling at the actors. I'm just like, this is dumb. Like I feel like if I get upset with it, I won't get scared.
Understandable.
So
I'm
I
kind
look
of
for any little thing to just get upset at about the movie and just yell at it.
Mhm.
I kind of do the same thing
Understood.
with scenes that make me cry, especially in anime. Like we were watching Violet Evergarden with
Mhm.
Uya, and I was fighting back tears so hard that I just kept making like these sarcastic remarks, and Uya got so mad at me. He was like, "We are not watching this anymore. Like, why do you keep talking? You're ruining the moment." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, I just don't want you to see me cry."
Aww.
But like, it actually got to the point like we watched To Your Eternity for anime night, and no, not To Your Eternity. For To Your Eternity, I cried like a baby, and I didn't make any stupid snide remarks. But there was no, it was the end to Osama ranking.
I hate
And
that.
when we got to like the last episode, Uya straight up was like, "Harune, you are going to mute, and you are not allowed to unmute for the rest of this episode because I don't want to hear anything stupid from you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And at first, I was like kind of upset. I was like, "How rude! Like, what makes you think like I'm gonna like be like that?" But then I watched that episode, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad you made me mute because I was saying I was like trash talking." Like the last segment of it, because I was just so shocked. But anyway, I don't want to like spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But I was just like, I involuntarily was like saying words, and I still got like emotional, but I was still like, what? Like, excuse me. And so I'm glad he told me to shut up.
Yeah. When I was watching The Ring, I'm just like, no, you dumb piece of shit! Don't open that door! No, why?
Yeah, I just put a blanket or a jacket over my head when I watch horror movies, and then I'll like deign to peek every once in a while.
Yeah.
I got so yelly. Like people were just like, that's not like you. You don't talk like that. And I just
It's because Kai's feeling threatened.
yes.
But
If I get them first, they can't get me.
Yeah, honestly. So you're like amped up. It's like fight or flight, but you're definitely fight.
Yes.
This spirit comes out the TV, I'm punching it in the face. But yeah, that's my topic, is the getting a little bit deeper into spooks in movies. And I do recommend that if anyone's interested in like further like going down the rabbit hole of this, that first blog article / series thing, The Historical Evolution of Fear and Scare Tactics. It's a fearincinema.umwblogs.org. I'll try to remember to include the link in the description of this episode, but if I don't, you can either remind me and I'll put it in the comments, or just type what I just said. And like I said, that goes through like early horror, so like in the 20s, the Hitchcock era, so 30s through 60s, psycho killers, which is 70s through 90s. and like they just do like a whole deep dive. It seems really interesting. So yeah, if you wanna, we just wetted our whistles today, but we can go further into that on your own time if you would like. But yeah, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
It's
Halloween.
time. Yeah. Any final comments? I guess before we sign off, this was a really long episode
This is a
today.
long
Yeah.
episode.
Oh,
This
it's
is
a big
about
one.
everything today.
Yeah, this is like the longest we've ever gone, I think.
Oh no.
I think so.
We might have broken a record here, yeah.
Well,
Oh my
it
gosh.
means we have good compatibility with our guest.
And of course we
Oh my
do.
You don't embarrass me like that, Kai.
I mean, we are part of the Food Lickers Club, so
It's true.
bonded
Supposed
by.
to be likers.
We like licking food too, though.
Yes.
It's part of the process.
Mhm.
But Gary, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. This was a ton
There you
of fun. Like,
Thank you for
it did
having me. I had a
not
lot
feel
of
like
fun.
2.5 hours.
No, I don't know. I was like, oh my goodness, where did the time go? I just realized how late it was.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
had a lot of fun though, but thank you for inviting me. It was my honor. It's like I've never really been on a podcast before, so
Mhm.
I was a little nervous today. So hopefully I wasn't too boring. or
Not at
anything.
all.
You did great. You did great. We gabbed on for like 2.5 hours without even thinking about it. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
truly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any announcements? Gary, where can listeners find you?
I'm just OniGiri EN everywhere, like Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. That's OniGiri EN. That's me.
There we go. And we'll put your links in this week's description.
In the description below.
Thank
Yo.
So check it out. Go follow. Yeah. Any announcements from any of my other co-hosts?
Remember to eat fiber.
Yes, don't get constipated like
True.
Kai.
Strawberries are full of fiber.
And don't drink Long Island iced teas.
Yes, please.
Unless you're educated in what's actually in the drink.
Yes, exactly. Unless if you know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
Yep.
If you value your bowels, don't drink them.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I guess we will sign off. Again, thank you all so much, and we'll see you for next episode. それでは皆さん、またね。バイバイ。
Bye.
Bye-bye.